9/11, we did some things that were wrong. We did a whole lot of things that were right.
We've taken control of the oil in the Middle East, the oil that we're talking about.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create.
We choose truth over facts.
America's a nation that can be defined in a single word.
Television is what people are saying.
Have you been watching television?
Golf and Silicon Valley
It's estimated that 200 million people have died, probably by the time I finish this talk. Agreed that everybody once they in fact they should... No, my time's up. I'm sorry. America's dead.
Welcome, 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 everybody.
And it's
to another show.
And it's Monday night.
Angle.
It's another alternative angle show tonight. I think we were like in talks of like maybe calling us politically homeless. I mean, I don't know.
Political homeless. I think the images that we have still say alternative angle.
I still gotta like fixture something in my mind for that. Like when I have the free time, I want to work.
I'm cool with it. I think politically homeless isn't too bad either. So it's still early, so we can change it and get away with it.
We'll talk about it. But we're coming fresh off the press from Shitless Tier List from last Friday. If you haven't seen that, go ahead, please do.
Take it with a grain of salt. It's meant for a bunch of laughs.
It was really fun. It was a lot of fun.
We've been making clips about it, but it was definitely fun.
And you know what? It pissed off the same exact amount of people that I thought it would last time. It did it again. You know, you would think that like they would like see it coming again, but no. I mean, I named the first one version 1.
You're like, it's coming. There's gonna be another update.
Yeah, like when I posted the first one, it was version 1. Like they shouldn't be a surprise.
And the trend is that once a shit lib, you progress into further levels of shit libbery. Yeah. It's very difficult to escape the shit lib.
That's the
paradigm.
Idea, and I feel like there's some accuracy to that too. You know?
Yes, so. That's fun. It was meant as like a 2-hour joke fest, but at the same time, there's some. It
was like a 2-hour shit post, but like it was like an appropriate shit post at the time.
It wasn't just talking out of our asses.
Just mess around. Yeah, it was fun.
There was some good takes in there, but we've been chopping it up, so I'm sure people have seen that stuff on Twitter, but. Yeah, after being on sabbatical for the last couple of weeks, we got a bunch of shit to come up with, and kind of had to chill. Stuff
being
that was
in the fucking YouTube prison. Thanks a lot.
Jail, yeah.
And I just wanted to, before we start, I just wanted to let you guys know that we have a Patreon on it. So if you want to give your support, just $3, $5 a month to keep this network running. It's in the top right corner. You get it. Scan a QR code right there. We also have Substack, we have merch, anything that you can to support the show, and of course we're actually at 1298 subscribers right now. So hit that
literally
subscribe button. So let's get to 1300 tonight. Grab 2 friends to hit the subscribe button so we can hit so we can change that number from 2 to 3.
So okay? Awesome.
I like big numbers.
This
is their milestones. Big numbers.
There is no OnlyFans.
The OnlyFans? DM me after the show.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta know the code. Fidelio.
Yeah, we can talk about that. But anyway, we got a lot of news tonight. Let's talk about Twitter's new CEO.
We kind of had to cut through a bunch of stuff. There were some kind of emergent things that happened today, but we kind of have to catch up because it's been gone for the last couple of weeks. So we kind of want to start with new Twitter CEO, and the way we kind of wanted to present this is like there's a lot of people who think that
a lot of the libertarians see him as like a free speech like
Yeah, let's start with that. So everybody kind of is like, oh, Elon Musk was this free speech advocate. Like, he is coming to save the show. He is going to, platform everybody who got deplatformed, restore accounts, and he is going to make it so that it is an actual like free speech platform. Well, of course, like anybody who's kind of been paying attention and has their eyes half open knows that's not really the case.
And I want to add too, like, this is like a serious, like, people are really bought into the Elon Musk phenomena, like, as if he's like, so because, like, when I went to the Rage Against the War Machine rally, there were at least like 2 signs that said, "God bless Elon." It was really cringe, but like, there's people who are like, at least libertarians. Like, I know that there are people who are like seriously bought into the Elon Musk psyop, and it's pretty incredible to watch. Like, for people who are like railing against the World Economic Forum and
stuff
like that.
The way I kind of look at it is that we have kind of like this indoctrinated, what I call billionaire hero complex in Western culture and American culture. You even see it with like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You basically, or like Batman, stuff like that. Like, people who are ultra wealthy, we kind of see them as the people who are supposed to take care of society and are supposed to solve like all society's ills. So part of like libertarians who know that there's like so much dog shit wrong with our society, they still cling on to things like, oh, it's just that oligarch that's bad, or it's that billionaire that's bad, instead of having the class analysis that no, all oligarchs are bad, all billionaires are bad.
Yeah, they need a superhero. They need
they need the
or
superhero, or else the whole capitalism thing kind of falls apart. So
yeah, they're the job creators. That's what they do, right?
Don't even.
They don't like
No, they're not exploiters.
Change or
So we're gonna start off the discussion about the new Twitter CEO by just doing a little bit of background on Elon Musk, because I think, I'm just gonna take a wild guess that there are some people who watch us or watch in or adjacent to the content that we watch who appreciate Elon Musk and look at Twitter and see what's going on Twitter and think that Elon Musk has done everything right and he's like the savior to the platform. Now, granted, we all know what Twitter was before Elon Musk, and it was just this DNC op, and it was just this garbage dump of just trying to like pressure us to have a very narrow line of thinking. And to that degree, maybe Elon Musk has like moved the goalposts a little bit and has allowed for a little bit more unfiltered language. But as we get into this, it's very obvious to me, and hopefully to people who are watching this, that this has always been the plan. Elon Musk is part of the machine. He's part of the establishment. He's part of the World Economic Forum, which I'll get into very quickly. Like, he's part of it. He's a young global leader. So we need to keep that in mind and not have these rose-colored glasses and just think that because he came in saying, oh, I'm going to bring back free speech, that meant he was going to bring free speech. No, it's not. So that's being said, let me take a look at my notes here and let's see what we're going to get into. Okay, so
you want to start with the Jeffrey Epstein thing that came out today?
Oh, yeah, you want to start with that really quick so we can do the...
Yeah, so I mean, this was breaking news. This came out about a couple hours ago,
and we're probably going to go a little bit more into this,
ads,
obviously, because it's a hot topic. But it literally just came out today, so we didn't really have time to plan for it.
U.S. Virgin Islands issued
You broke up a little bit there. I don't know if that was me or you, but yeah, Elon Musk got subpoenaed because of what? Like, because of his connections to Epstein, of course.
Yeah, so if we take a look right here, the U.S. Territory asked Manhattan Federal Court Judge Jed Rakoff in the filing to allow it to serve Musk within the subpoena for the documents with Tesla's registered agent. So the subpoena demands that Musk turn over the documents showing the communications involving him, J.P. Morgan, and Epstein, as well as all documents reflecting regarding Epstein's involvement in human trafficking.
Oh my God!
So.
Okay, and so there's actually a bigger story here. It's like, I was just gonna say that like, in particular, Whitney Webb has been really good at covering all the Epstein connections. Yeah. Like, on
her
her
entire
shit.
series.
And she's also gone a little bit into the more recent JP Morgan discoveries and Jamie Dimon stuff. So if you can't wait for us to kind of go more in depth with this stuff, Whitney Webb's done some stuff on this. Like Jamie Dimon is as crooked as they come. And the fact that JP Morgan has its hands all over it goes back, decades. Like they knew that they were facilitating Epstein bringing over, child trafficking, basically. So I'll let you kind of get into it from there. But I saw JP Morgan on there and I was like, if you guys don't know who Whitney Webb is, she's on top of this shit.
I'm looking through. But I mean, are we really surprised from
that Elon Musk is? I mean, yeah, exactly. There's the photo. The one that
is there really like is this really like the shocking like revelation that we had to rely on like a fucking CNBC article in order to figure that out?
Well, exactly.
Not, like,
and it's like
this is not something that's like completely like entirely new.
Well, and the way I look at it is that if you're an oligarch, if you're a multi-billionaire, there's an extremely high likelihood that the Mossad, i.e. fucking whoever Epstein's next, like the protege of Epstein was, is going to do the same type of shit that Epstein was doing until he didn't kill himself. Mossad didn't change the game just because Epstein died. They're still trying to get compromat on U.S. oligarchs to hold against them.
Oh, Epstein wasn't like a guy like a Mossad boss or anything. He was just one agent.
But he was an agent
one
for
agent
Mossad.
Like tons of agents.
Yes, but he was. I guess what I'm trying to say is he's the most notable. We all know that he was associated with Mossad, and I'm just kind of trying to paint the picture.
Like 5 other Epsteins that we don't know about.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and they're probably not all Mossad, but the way I look at it is that you don't end up becoming one of the like 500 or 1,000 richest people on paper in the world and not have Western intelligence trying to influence you every step of the way. And that's also part of my article as well. So I think I don't know how you can become a good billionaire in the first place. So I find it really hard to think that Elon Musk could push back or some other billionaire would be resistant to the kind of influence that Mossad or the Epstein types or the Ghislaine Maxwell types would have on them. I just think it's like, if you're already a sociopath who acquired like billions of dollars through emerald mines and, fake acquisitions and Ponzi schemes, it probably doesn't take that much to get them to, fill in the blank, redacted, hang out with children, that sort of stuff, like
that's why I'm curious, like how much do you think that like part of this like step down or like this like Twitter regime change is like due to blackmail or he was like causing trouble?
I mean, the way I look at it is that I think that this has always been part of his plan, and whether Yacarino was like a deliberate specific part of that plan, I don't know about that.
Press off of it, so I mean,
yeah, but it's very clear to me that him being a young global leader and his connection and like his connections to the State Department, his connections to the Pentagon, he has Neuralink, he has history doing payment processing, he's expressed interest in having payment processing on Twitter, like just all that stuff kind of fits in that it was never about free speech. It's about him wanting to control how the flow of information through billions of people and the flow of money through billions of people. He wants to be that go-between, and like you don't end up being that person without being associated with the World Economic Forum.
Is that the first article, the Bloomberg article right here?
Yeah. So we can start with that. I saw that you put the link about Minpress, but that's kind of more redundant at this point because I guess I'm kind of assuming for our listeners that everybody kind of knows that Musk does have a pretty substantial background with the Department of Defense. Starlink, I guess the Starlink. Starlink's a perfect example.
Yeah, and SpaceX too. They had like tons of Pentagon contracts.
Yeah, like they send payloads to ISS. That's all Department of Defense.
Yeah.
But Starlink, he was giving those Starlink satellites to fucking Nazis. So to say that he's like an outsider is just like complete bullshit.
It's ridiculous.
Like, get that out of your head.
Absolutely crazy.
I can't think about that for a second. But no, like look at that Bloomberg article. What's actually funny about it and why Elon Musk thinks that he can have success memory holing this is look at the date. Look at the date. 2008. 15 years ago. Okay? And when you go onto the Young Global Leader website, it only goes back to alumni through 2018.
Do you have that link?
I did. I think I closed it because it just wasn't that useful. Because I was looking for Yacarino as well.
Well, in case you do try, you're not gonna find it.
Yeah, you're not gonna find Elon Musk. You can only go back about 5 years on the Young Global Leader list. But this is Bloomberg saying that Elon Musk was indoctrinated into the Young Global Leaders, which is part of the World Economic Forum. I think Bill Gates was on it. Jeff Bezos was on it. But you can see Leonardo DiCaprio got it that year. Anderson Cooper, who fucking does hosting on CNN. Like, big freaking people. And so he's been part of World Economic Forum going back at least 15 years. So we can dispel the myth that he is an outsider to this and that that's just a coincidence that Yacarino is also affiliated with World Economic Forum. That's not a coincidence. Somebody can make the argument that's coincidence if you just live with your eyes closed. But I refuse to believe that Yacarino having history in World Economic Forum, which I'll get into, and Musk being part of World Economic Forum for the last 15 years is just coincidental. It's not. I don't think so. So that's where I found that article. And that article I had to, you saw it's from 15 years ago. There's really not that much information on it. To be honest, I don't really even know what the role of a young global leader is, other than maybe some sort of kind of the way I interpret a young global leader under World Economic Forum is somebody who kind of acts as a diplomat, I guess, for these kind of corporations that work outside of like state government. Like, you understand that the World Economic Forum kind of represents like this parastate entity where it's not really a state at all. It's all corporations, but the corporations collectively try and represent interests of what would be a state.
Yeah, it's basically a one power state with one central currency, one central command, one central government.
So it's important to almost look at World Economic Forum. I mean, you can look at it through as much money as they have, their endowment, as having more money than many states that actually exist as states today.
Also, I feel like their like intentions like align up too. Like this article here with the Twitter company, like wanting to create the X, the everything app.
And that's actually part of the bigger picture. I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's a good point as well. So, and that was kind of, everybody knew about it, but at the same time, it was kind of discreet. At the same time, he was like, "Yeah, we changed it to X," and that's about it. But Elon Musk did say throughout last year, prior to purchasing Twitter, there's a video I think in the notes. Let's see.
Okay.
Months of back and forth and a lawsuit later.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Elon Musk on Tuesday
7 months ago
announced that he would go ahead with his plan to buy Twitter at the originally agreed on price. But as always, there is more to the story where Elon Musk is concerned. He then put out a tweet a little while after.
Oh, that's rough.
Buying Twitter is an accelerant to creating X, the everything app. Notice that it's not the
rough
first
for
thing.
The Musk fans.
Yeah, that's not the first thing. You would think the first thing, if you were a Musk fan, would be like, buying Twitter is an accelerant to promote free speech. That's not what it says. The everything app. WeChat.
He said, and I quote, "Buying Twitter is an accelerant to creating X, the everything app." This tweet has sent netizens
WeChat has some privacy problems I saw recently too. But yeah.
I mean, you're bound to run
tizzy,
into.
and they're wondering why Elon Musk is thinking about creating an everything app. And what does an everything app even mean? For starters, an everything app isn't a new concept, also commonly known as super apps. These are quite popular in Asia. China's WeChat, for example, is considered the Swiss Army knife of mobile apps. It offers a suite of services for users, including messaging, social networking, peer-to-peer payments, e-commerce, essentially an app for all apps, if you will. So
this is like the final monopoly, the final form of like monopoly. It's everything you ever need, like your groceries, your laundry, your entertainment, all is sold by the same company.
So I don't know if there's really a corollary stateside yet to WeChat. I don't think there really is. But the way to kind of look at it is not just as like an everything platform, but people literally log on to WeChat to download apps for WeChat. Okay, so you know how Apple and
they
Android
literally use it for everything. Like it's their main. Like they don't have text messages in China. They use WeChat.
They use WeChat.
Like I actually work with like two designers in China,
and they use WeChat for everything.
They use WeChat. Like part of that reason is because WeChat like automatically translates for you.
Oh, that's
English.
Cool. That's pretty sweet.
So like I'm able to like talk to her through there, like in a reasonable way. But also like that's the only way of her communicating is through WeChat.
Is through WeChat. Yeah.
Yeah. Or email. But like, you know what I mean? Like it's
the thing to really consider that would be particularly disruptive with something like this is Elon Musk and by proxy World Economic Forum, all these state powers. They want to take the power away from companies like Google and Apple, who have the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. And they want to divert people to opening up the X app, okay, the WeChat app, and then conduct all their business through that app. Okay. So completely bypassing, Apple securities, Google securities, Google kind of all those regulations that they have to be able to force you to be on WeChat all the time. It's kind of like how Facebook tries to get like their average users on Facebook, 12 hours a day or something like that, 14 hours a day. They have their own browser. They have their own marketplace. They have their own stuff. Like that's like, I think Facebook is probably closer to what WeChat is than what Twitter is today. But
people really underestimate like the value of like your data too. Like, I mean, people will buy email lists for like thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like your sensitive information, your preferences, all of your advertising data is valuable to several different companies across multiple industries. Whether you'd be interested in like whether it's involving your lifestyle or hobbies or anything you like is pushed by a marketing agency. So
right.
It's just like important to remember that.
What this essentially means is that Elon Musk is looking to create his own version of a super app like WeChat outside of Asia, though he's yet to give out any further details about his plans for X, the everything app, as he calls it. Musk has in the past praised WeChat, that evolved from a simple messaging service to a freestanding mini internet of sorts, one that is used by
I can't take it seriously.
A billion users every day. Musk has been very vocal about the need for radical change.
He's like if you give Elon Musk is like it's like what would happen if you gave an incel $3 billion. You know what I mean? Like,
or
it is like that.
Twitter also stating that he wanted to grow Twitter users to at least 1 billion. He added more tools.
Okay, so that's kind of notable too. So, and I think Facebook is closer to 2 billion right now, maybe a little bit less since they get rid of bots, but that's not a small amount of people. And I think Twitter is at about 400 million, 500 million. But getting to 1 billion would, I'm guessing that the number why he's shooting for 1 billion is because that's probably the threshold where you have so many users that like the word of mouth and the exposure kind of perpetuates itself. So 1 billion becomes 2 billion, 2 billion becomes, and so on and so forth. And it just kind of like expands on its own, especially if you're trying to create an everything app. Once you got 1 billion people using it, like you're good at that point. You've created a monopoly. So I think that's kind of the thinking behind it.
He has enough money to like where he doesn't really have to worry about where he invests it too much. Like he can lose a lot. Like I mean, most of the thing is like with billionaires, a lot of like their money is in capital and in debt. It's through like
a lot of his shit is in Tesla, which is a Ponzi scheme. So when people say Elon Musk is worth $200 or $300 billion, it's like, no, he's not. Like he just has a credit card that he can use anywhere because
like
he's
max out at any time.
Like so I just thought about this. I don't know. I might be dating myself a little bit, but like before Michael Jackson died, killed. Okay. Not happening.
We'll talk about that another time.
before he was murdered. Like he could just go into any stores as Michael Jackson and be like, I want this, and just take it. It didn't matter how much money he had because he had the entire Michael Jackson library and the entire Beatles library. So even though he wasn't like, he didn't have like tons of money and income, like in liquid assets, like the value of his intellectual property was enough where he could kind of pretend to spend money. So I think I don't think Elon Musk has anywhere near 200 billion like to be able to spend. Like if Tesla got in a really bad place or SpaceX got in a really bad place, he would be in a lot of trouble. Like I don't think like unless they found some other way to prop him up, I think Elon Musk is kind of like operating on like fictional currency. Like
most of them are.
Yeah, like it's not.
That's the power of fiat, baby. It's just all fake. Everything's
power
fake.
Of fiat, power of financial capitalization, and like just Tesla being completely full of shit.
That's why we had that bullshit job stream, man. Because like the entire economy is fake. All of it is fucking fake.
So fake. So the entire concept of billionaires, like these people they're basically living off of credit. These people are not living off of bank accounts.
It's off of debt. Debt, stock, and capital. That's all it is. It's not actual.
Platforms are necessary and prove to be a conduit for change. Meta's Instagram has undergone some similar changes as well by going beyond social networking and also incorporating messaging and e-commerce to its. However, if Elon Musk really wants to promote free speech on Twitter once he takes over, as he claims, China's WeChat may not be the best template for that.
Well, okay. I think that's about the end of it. And what's
this
funny
guy wants
is
his own China, basically.
Well, what she's kind of giving away the game without really saying it in that way, because she's like, well, wait a second, like it's not going to be a free speech platform if he's trying to copy WeChat, and she's actually saying the quiet part out loud, where Elon Musk does not want a free speech platform. He just wants the everything platform. Like he's more interested in the power that comes with that kind of platform. And being able to control people. So I think it's just an ironic admission that the anchor made on that one. Oh yeah. Okay. I just thought this was interesting, but so we know that Twitter, he renamed it to X. So that means that Twitter really is a DBA. It's not actually Twitter. It's X doing business as Twitter. So
like Kellogg.
I can either pull this up, but I'm kind of putting these pieces together. Do you see the link where it says one of his first companies? I can pull it up.
Exxon?
X.com. Yeah, so pull that up really quick. So people forget, but like Elon Musk has been a serial buyer of companies, not builder of companies, buyer of companies for like 25 years, like almost as long as I've been alive.
He was famously part of the PayPal Mafia with Reid Hoffman,
PayPal Mafia, Peter Thiel. Yeah, yep. He was one of those. Mm-hmm. And what's funny about that is that it was actually a hostile. They basically paid Elon Musk, I think, almost $300 million to basically leave PayPal. They're like, you're driving it into the ground. You don't share our vision. we're selling the company and we're giving you your piece as a courtesy. Okay, so like
you got
his he was not like a favorable person in PayPal. But anyway, the big picture
you tried
is
to go with MySpace too, right?
I don't remember all that. Like that's
but yeah. Okay.
But I like to stick to X.com for a second. So Twitter named X, okay? One of Elon Musk's first companies was X.com. Okay, this was I think in 1999 he made X.com, I think is what it said.
Yeah,
but
1999 to 2000.
This was essentially one of the first digital banks, okay? Almost 20 years ago, he had a company called X.com that was a bank / payment processing, okay? FDIC insured. Now, I don't know if there's some overlap, if there's some old like intellectual property or some patents on X.com. Like I know Elon Musk has a fetish for the letter X, but I think it's notable that one of his first companies was named X.com, was a payment processing / bank. And he wants to make Twitter X Core. That's notable to me. He's going to, so I see that there's a merger happening there. And as we know, he wants Twitter to have payment processing included into it. We know that he's a crypto bro. We know that he's in favor of CBDCs. So
he loves driving Dogecoin just up and down.
Yeah, like
all day long. Just
so
he can.
So we know, we can infer, okay, very easily that yes, he has experience running businesses as essentially a digital bank, doing payment processing that had almost the same name as what he renamed Twitter. Okay, that's not a coincidence to me. That's notable to me. We should pay attention to that stuff. So that's why I wanted to mention X.com. A lot of people don't know about it, but he fucking had a bank 20 years ago. He did payment processing 20 years ago. He was one of the first people to do that shit. So for the people still kind of the must stands out there, just remember, not free speech, payment processing.
That's what they have to get into, because like ultimately that's like where they hold all of your control. They can just
and I mean we've kind of talked about it on Twitter, and like not so much on this show necessarily, showing the connection between Twitter, Elon Musk, CBDCs, and World Economic Forum. But we know that implementing central bank digital currencies is the fucking goal. Like that's happening. We've already talked about that. We know it's happening. We've told you guys, like, you're not going to have a choice.
Just wait till July. It's all coming. It's all wrapping together, and like
it's happening. So
cash is going to be useless in like you guys have like 45 days, maybe like 40 days, and then cash.
I told. It's so funny, dude. So sidebar, really quick. My dad works in finance capital. Different discussion for a different day. But
investing his stocks. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like
that's what my dad does. But one of the analysts that he values. Okay, this guy has hundreds of millions of dollars, and he told him, my dad's like driving in the car, and he has like his assistant on speakerphone, and his assistant's like, yeah, our analyst just said, don't invest in any of the regional banks. And I just started laughing my ass off. I told you, Dad.
Like this fucking stupidest shit. Like they get it. Like they only get it when it comes onto CNBC or like
exactly.
Or like,
they only get it, and like
that's the only time when it like comes together for them. But like,
I'm like, I told you this stuff 2-3 months ago.
Yeah.
So I was like, Dad, you need to talk to this analyst and see what he thinks about CBDCs. Because if he feels the same way about CBDCs that I do, then like I should be talking to this guy. Because I just thought that was so funny. But anyway, so
let's check out this lady Linda. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to that. Anyway, I think we've established the point that Elon Musk has a history
of financial
of being involved in
digital finance,
World Economic Forum, digital finance, etc. So that being said, let's kind of get into Linda Yaccarino. So we can pull up. I guess you got pulled up her LinkedIn, and we'll just touch upon this. Go into her her history, her kind of like her bona fides. Like a lot of the stuff that she notices. So when I looked at her LinkedIn, if you scroll down, I'm using this term kind of euphemistically, but she kind of has like the girl boss persona with some of her bona fides. Working for
I'm an independent
organization.
woman capitalist kind of.
Yeah, there's a company in there called Catalyst. There's another company in there, but like she does these kind of things where it's like empowering women to like lead the like entrepreneurial workforce, kind of like this fake feminism type thing. And so she's all about kind of it's it's a nuanced topic to kind of get into, but she's not a feminist. She's not like
Look
doing
at
the
this.
like
You're, like,
things
she got,
empowering
like, all
women
of
thing.
this.
She's 100% a capitalist. She's 100% trying to do the bidding of the more notable stuff is like the World Economic Forum stuff, which
Oh, of course.
I'll end up sharing my screen on that.
When you see global leader in the title, that basically means like
That's
I'm a
that's
henchman
the
for
World
like
Economic that's the World
yeah.
Economic Forum reference. She just can't put in young into it because people would put the pieces together. But let me look at these notes really quick. Yeah, but I kind of see she's the how do I put this? She has a lot of experience and qualifications that would lead to this kind of like woke persona and like kind of leveraging identity politics to empower people and especially women to be successful, i.e., entrepreneurs and leading global, mega corporations. Okay, she's that person. One of the things before kind of getting into her new appointment as CEO is it's worth touching upon that she was like very, very, very high up in NBC Universal. Okay, well, who is the parent company
She's a
of
chairman
NBC
of
Universal?
global advertising. She was there for like more than she was
Yeah.
there for almost 12 years.
Yeah, it's like she
She was
worked
a
her way up to
propagandist
NBC
for 12
Universal.
years. That doesn't just change overnight.
Advertising. So that's important for the video that I'll go through in a little bit later. But what I want people to be reminded of with NBC Universal, okay? Who owns NBC Universal? Comcast. Okay? Comcast owns NBC Universal. What is Comcast notoriously anti? Anti-net neutrality, okay? Anti-net neutrality, okay? They would absolutely love for us to be able to have to pay for the privilege of being access to certain information and being completely blocked off from other information, okay? So, like, even though there may be a degree of separation there, either, like, you might want to make the argument that, like, well, it was NBC, it's not Comcast. No, they're all the same thing, okay? Like, you can't separate something that's like maybe hasn't been the topic of discussion for a few years because Ajit Pai repealed net neutrality years ago. But it's still important to consider that he hired as CEO someone who has been indoctrinated after almost 15 years with the company to be like intrinsically against net neutrality and leverage that kind of ideology as a reason to push advertising, especially onto people, but also censorship. Okay, being against net neutrality is the same thing as being pro censorship, in my opinion. Okay.
Oh, it was just a consolidation of like all of the media. Like it was just like another like Bill Clinton telecommunications thing, for the most part, or at least it allowed that more fluently to happen in the modern economy, as if it wasn't already.
Yes, I mean it was so. I don't want to get too much into the weeds with net neutrality. But
yeah, we don't have to get into that at all. But like, I mean, you shared the World Economic Forum thing. Do you want to watch?
Yeah,
the
so
interview?
no, let's. I want to actually open up the World Economic Forum task force thing. I'll share my screen on that one because I kind of want to walk through it. It's definitely worth. Hold on a second. Copy. Let me pull this up. Oh, whoops. Sorry, give me a second, people. Let's see. On the agenda articles. Wait, where'd it go? Oh, future of work. Why? Wait, what? Hold on a second. Now I don't have it anymore. It's like a different link.
Yeah, I got it right.
Let me see what you got.
It looks like it's just like filtered by like Is that like a category of articles?
Yeah, it was something different. I'm sorry, it's really important. Let me see if I can find it because it actually really breaks down. Okay, I have it. So I'll just share my screen. I still have the link pulled up.
Okay.
Let's see, entire screen, share, and then let's see. All right, so can you see? I'll make this big. Can you see in the center of the screen where it says "Big Picture"?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Yacarino's claim to fame. Okay, she is a chairwoman of the Future of Work agenda at the World Economic Forum. Okay. So, for people listening in, uh, the mission for Future of Work, the World Economic Forum is committed to helping leaders shape healthier and more inclusive job markets and ensuring a just transition for workers in increasingly low-carbon, high-tech economies. We aim to provide a platform where decision makers from the public and private sectors can work together to equip workforces with the contemporary skills of lifelong learning necessary to thrive in fast-changing environment. So that's all just, bullshit double speak for saying that they want, this is all the stakeholder capitalism shit. So now about halfway down, it kind of breaks down a few different pieces of this, which her as chairwoman, I would think that she had a very big influence in kind of creating this direction. So as I go through this, I want people to consider that what I'm showing you with World Economic Forum and with this big picture stuff with the future of work, these are obviously things that she is going to use to try and leverage on Twitter/X. Okay. So do you see that?
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick to
Okay.
thank member of the network, Colin Radix Carter, for the $2.
Appreciate you.
Baby Lemon looking up to our lemon character standing in a superhero position. Do you get that? What does that mean?
Wait, I didn't like it. Well,
I don't get it.
let me see. Baby Lemon looking up to our lemon character standing in a superhero position. I don't.
Yeah.
Which one of us is standing in the superhero position?
I don't know.
I appreciate you either way.
Yeah.
But let's get back to. I want to pull this back up.
Yeah, put that.
So do you see it again? It looks like this weird web. It says future work in the middle. Or do I need to share my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So first off, the first thing that caught my eye, nothing really about workers. Okay? Nothing about workers.
It never is. It's always about.
So let's just kind of work through this. It kind of shows you the web. Reskilling.
It's a sticker. Okay. You have to see it on YouTube.
Okay.
Never mind.
So,
all right. Continue.
So Future of Work, this is what she values, okay? This is what she wants to put onto Twitter. This is how she wants to leverage her role as CEO on Twitter to leverage the Agenda 2030, World Economic Forum, 15-minute cities, all the deal. Okay, so let's just kind of go through it. So first off, nothing about the current workforce, but there is some stuff about reskilling the workforce. So migration, so take that to mean hiring people from outside your country. Social protection, youth perspectives, so that's propaganda. Artificial intelligence, that's going to eradicate about half the jobs on the planet, so that's good. Digital economy, so that means that
sounds all great for workers.
This
really.
all sounds fucking terrible.
This sounds like the perfect.
This is the
formula.
It's the meme that they used to use during the Obama regime, where they were like, "Oh, let's teach everybody how to code," kind of thing,
Like to learn to code. I forgot.
That's kind of how. Oh, okay. So I'm not going to go into the nuts and bolts of all these because I kind of just want people to see that they're not focused on the current workforce. They want us to be reskilled into fitting this workforce. Okay, they want us to fulfill the needs of the World Economic Forum and their agenda. They don't want us to be industrialized anymore. I think that's very important. If you want to know more about industrialization and why deindustrialization is terrible, go check out Ben Norton's channel. Go listen to some Michael Hudson. They're on their shit with that stuff. But anyway, reskilling. So, digital economy, they want everybody working to fucking do e-commerce. social innovation.
Oh, that's the only jobs now.
Yeah, exactly. Education, skills, and learning. You can assume that means STEM. Aging and longevity. I don't know what they mean by that, but I'm assuming some sort of transhumanist shit. Data science, again, that's analytics. That goes back to, retraining people for digital jobs. Systemic racism, that's just jargon. And of course, the fourth industrial revolution, which we all know that we should just fear from seeing those three words together. For anyone who doesn't necessarily know what the fourth industrial revolution means, that's kind of just this really what the World Economic Forum's overarching goal is, to make us all kind of live in boxes, live in freaking the metaverse, and give away our biometric data so they can sell it to advertisers and they can, basically control all of our habits. So let's go on a little bit. So inclusive labor markets, you can see some overlap here, but also it kind of gets into gender inequality, so that's just liberalism bullshit. Behavioral sciences, liberalism bullshit. And
sounds like Bill
and
Melinda Gates.
and when I say liberalism bullshit, I'm not trying to necessarily disparage the liberal arts, but I want people to think more materially in that stuff like behavioral sciences, while somewhat important, especially for, I know we got friends on here who do psychology and stuff like that. I don't really think they're necessarily talking about psychology in this. I think they're talking more about how to control people to adapt to this world that they want everybody to live in. Future media, entertainment, and sports, and then entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, I take that as kind of double speak for promoting people who want to exploit the labor of others, not actually trying to enhance the livelihoods of the people who actually do the work. Job creation and entrepreneurship, banking and capital markets, so that's stakeholder capitalism. Economic progress, that means financial capitalism. That does not mean industrialization. The digital transformation of businesses, so we've already talked about that. You can see very, very, very clearly that there's none of this is about industrialization. And again, I would strongly recommend checking out Ben Norton, checking out Michael Hudson, checking out Radhika Desai, people who are talking about why deindustrialization is a terrible thing and it's going to lead to our downfall. But these people think it's going to be great, okay? So digital transformation of businesses, science, whatever they mean by that, that's such a vague fucking topic. Infrastructure, that's a joke. We haven't had infrastructure in 30 years. And global risk, whatever that means.
Yeah, they can't wait to ship off to Mars and let us all die in a heat collapse.
Yeah, it's just a joke.
It's really not that far off. But
so
do you want to get into this interview, or do you?
You kind of want me to move on? Let me see something really quick. Let me see if
I'm trying to tie it together.
Yeah, let me just see if there was. Let me just quickly look at some of these other models and see if there's anything else notable I want to touch upon really quick. Like, the thing is that I feel like these three groups really outline Yacarino's agenda within Twitter. So I'll post the link on Twitter later. If you guys follow me, you'll see it later, and so you guys can check it out. But the big thing I want people to kind of take away from this is that it's a lot of liberal kind of, woke language. It's a lot of appealing to stakeholders and a focus on entrepreneurs, the people the quote unquote job creators, but not the people who do the labor. Converting everybody to digital jobs, which I interpret as deindustrialization, okay, which is bad. Don't let anybody tell you the rise of finance capital is good. It's not. It's bad. So it's important to keep in mind that they're basically trying to ham fist us this world that is really kind of antithetical to humanity and is going to make things even harder for us, so that the stakeholders can benefit. So I'll post that link so we can get into the video. But I really want people to kind of take away with those few slides that I believe very strongly that her role on Twitter, there's a lot to get out of looking at those three graphs.
How much of this do you think is Musk just being frustrated and jealous over his breakup with Grimes?
It's really funny you say that. So why don't you pull up the video then? Because I make a few notes. Because like I think when you get to the level of Yacarino being, when you get to their levels, okay, nothing is done coincidentally. Everything is planned. Okay, the colors that they wear, the items that they have on their faces, the like way that they're holding their hands, everything is planned. So, like, I think as you play the video, I make some comments. I make some notices about how I think she's kind of like flirting with him in a way. So we can go with that. Again, like
I like that hypothesis because like Musk seems like that kind of guy who would like chase after.
Well,
because like I kind of saw this happen with Eliza Blue. I mean, you could kind of, I don't know if you're like completely familiar with that.
I'm familiar with that bullshit.
Yeah, no, I only know of her because through Misty, she was like big on like the Assange thing for a little bit, which is ironic because she became like a pro censorship like tool afterwards.
Right.
But she like became really close with Musk as a part of this her job was really nothing. She didn't really do anything, but like she just was a child trafficking like task force or something for Twitter.
Yeah.
And
but then
and then supposedly she'll ban like pornography links, but like there's like child pornography links, but like there's no.
I think I like it's my understanding. I don't know too much about Eliza Blau, but it's my understanding that she got kind of like found out to be a total fraud. And
Elon Musk ended up like unfollowing her. I mean, that was like mostly like an embarrassment thing.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, so let's.
But you can, I think you can kind of see like how Musk is so willing to like buy into things.
I totally think
as long as it looks pretty.
I totally think that she leveraged her sexuality to appeal to Musk. Now that being said,
is she married?
I didn't look that far into it. I don't know.
All right. Well, I like that hypothesis.
So important to keep in mind, all these people, everything from what they're wearing to where they're looking to how they're holding their hands, everything is planned out. People should recognize that with these sort of people. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, and so this particular interview came out April 18th. Okay, so this was, I think, 2 weeks before he announced the official CEO that she was going to be CEO. That being said, I think there's some things in this interview that lead me to believe that she may have already known that she was going to be CEO before it was announced. Well, I mean, obviously, but I don't know. I think the jury's out whether she knew she was going to be CEO of Twitter or not at this interview. I would assume so. Within a month, yeah, she probably knew.
This is April 18th. This is so like
April 18th. So less than 2. It was about 2.
They were definitely talking about it
at
this time. Like that's not a decision that you make like within like less than a month.
Coming out.
I would say she was at the very least, she was being vetted for it and had known that the position was on the table for it. Okay, so before we even play it, let's just take a look. So since you brought up the thing about Elon Musk kind of being you think he's a bit of a chauvinist, which I could kind of agree with. Let's just look at now. I'm not saying anything against Yacarino and how she's dressing. I'm just making an observation into the psychology of what she chose to wear and how she chose to present herself. Okay, so first off, okay, you can Google Linda Yacarino, and most of the photos of her do not have her wearing glasses. Okay, so why is she wearing glasses? It's a prop. Okay, why is she wearing glasses? To make her look intelligent. Okay, that's a prop. I'm willing to suggest that they're either fake or very low prescription. It's a prop. The The color yellow, okay, is a symbol of hope. I have that link there, but like the yellow was an intentional choice.
Yeah, no, I'm actually like somewhat familiar with the color psychology thing. The color yellow, I know, like especially is used a lot in like actually like in a lot of like activists like political kind of graphics and art because it's supposed to like invoke empathy.
Here we go. So it's
I know
right.
it's like an energetic like happy.
I have
it
right
color.
here. So yellow is a warm color that induces feelings of energy, happiness, optimism, according to color specialists and associates, associated with intellect, logic, cheerfulness, happiness, optimism, and inspires hope, enthusiasm, and a thirst for knowledge. Okay, tell me that wasn't a deliberate decision.
Yeah.
Now next, okay, and you're gonna see. I noticed this a bunch while watching this. Is like almost the point where I think she's almost a little bit too uncomfortable wearing the outfit that she's wearing because it's a little bit too high up. But you see her pulling on her dress like multiple times during this speech. Okay, during this debate, this discussion, and so she's wearing this I guess you could call it like a power dress or something. Like it's not a power suit, but she's clearly wearing something that's very professional.
Girl boss.
It's girl boss. Yes. Okay. Which, okay. Very important when we go back to looking at her LinkedIn profile where she kind of puts on this fake feminism persona. She is absolutely doing the will of the patriarchy right here. Okay. She is dressing in a way that appeals to the patriarchy. Okay. So I think it's important to know that on the one side, while she's doing this girl boss thing, that she's actually fulfilling the role of patriarchy. So also, I also noticed that she did a hell of a work on her tanning, but like,
oh yeah, you noticed that?
Oh man, like that like
because like in the thumbnail, she's like noticeably like brighter.
Like that's a lot of tan. So
yeah,
like if you watch this video and watch the whole thing, I don't recommend it. But she actually adjusts her outfit quite a bit, which tells me that maybe she chose it as a she chose the length deliberately and then was uncomfortable with the choice that she chose. It kept riding up. You can see, I mean, she's doing the thing with her legs crossed. Like that's a very patriarchal thing. So anyway, getting away from that, I just kind of wanted to outline that she's making deliberate choices. These people are psychos. They do all these things with a purpose. So I guess we can just get right into it. Let me see. Okay, so let's start with 154. I just want to show this really quick.
Talk about today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to make Twitter fun.
Okay, so pause it really quick.
Informative,
Twitter fun.
So there's you'll see them later, but the note cards that she's holding, she holds these note cards that say NBCU on one side and Twitter on the other. That could just be like some sort of collaboration. It could imply something else down the line. I don't know if it's
on like NBC Universal.
It's on NBC Universal, but it also has the Twitter logo, which implies that there's some sort of collaboration between the two. So that's
optimization for Twitter is maximize the user time.
But I guess we can probably skip right to 245.
So total number of users.
So and also keep in mind this speech, this discussion, they're talking to, he's talking to advertisers. He's talking to potential advertisers.
Oh, it's stakeholders. It's a room full of stakeholders.
It's a room full of stakeholders, and she is acting as the liaison for those advertisers. So when you listen to her questions, she's asking as somebody who's trying to extract ad revenue from the people in the audience.
She's the face
and
of the
trying
companies,
to extract,
more or less.
Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. So we can kind of go from there.
I think it's important to start with your vision of Twitter 2.0. You yourself wrote, I would like to die knowing that it's actually been quite apparent in all your other businesses, PayPal, to Tesla, to SpaceX, to maybe you contemplating a new AI company.
Yeah.
But how does the better humanity for the
future? Okay, so let's pause that for a second.
Let's
just pause. I just want to pause that for a second because AI is absolutely part of the World Economic Forum agenda. So for her pretending that it's like just, maybe you'll do it someday. Like he's doing it.
He just came out with an AI voice changer app like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so
it's not.
So she in a way is kind of like gaslighting over really like the most important part. Like AI is so fucking.
How much did he open AI? Like
I don't know.
Was it one of the main founders of ChatGPT?
He was one of the main. He was one of the main founders, and then OpenAI was no longer open. And then I just think it's interesting that she pretends that the most important part, which is, oh yeah, maybe you'll do some AI, is just like a footnote. No, that's like the important part. You can keep playing from that. There's a little bit more here because Elon Musk just bullshits like crazy.
Of Twitter 2.0.
Yeah.
You yourself wrote, I would like to die knowing that humanity has a bright future. It's actually been quite apparent in all your other businesses, from the early days of PayPal
no, it hasn't.
to Tesla
no, it hasn't.
to SpaceX to maybe
none of that is true.
A new AI
How do these two meet each other? In what case, like
probably young global leaders, probably through World Economic Forum.
True.
Yeah.
But how does the better humanity for the future fit into your Twitter 2.0 vision?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, with the goal with Tesla is to advance sustainable energy.
False.
SpaceX, we've got Starlink, which is providing internet to the
False.
least served in the world.
Let's pause that for a second. I just want to make it really clear. Starlink was supplied to Nazis during the special operation between Russia and Ukraine. He was supplying Starlink satellites.
That's Pentagon money. Tons of Pentagon money.
As recon for Nazis in Ukraine. So that's just like a huge gaslight on his part. Total war machine bullshit.
This guy helped regime change in Iran. It's not like
it's like
he
definitely has his foot in the door.
Back to the moon.
Terrible human being.
So we have an exciting future. I mean, it's important to bear in mind, like sometimes people say, like, why waste any money on space? Like, we have enough problems on Earth. But you know, the thing is that, like, everyone needs a reason to be inspired. People need a reason to wake up in the morning. It can't just be about solving problems. They have to be.
What? What?
I mean, I think the reason that he does SpaceX is just because it's an easy way to get a lot of subsidies from the government.
And going to the moon last century inspired the whole world.
Yeah.
And
debatable.
Going to Mars can do the same thing.
Not happening.
Yeah, did you see that article about that Russian like space? He's like head of like the Russian like space committee. He basically like flat out said like, yeah, the U.S. never landed on the moon.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely. Like I was having the discussion with my dad last week that like Japan fucked up on landing on the moon. I think a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And I was just like casually at lunch with my dad, and I was like, "Isn't it weird that Japan couldn't land on the moon when like we were supposed to be able to do it like almost half a century ago?" It's like, I don't know. Like, isn't that really weird? Almost like we've never done it before. And then he was like, "Oh, come on."
So then, yeah, it's a great question. Why take some time away from that for Twitter?
And you know, like no one's ever willing to listen to that one either. Like the moon landing was fake kind of thing. They automatically write you off. Like you're.
Well, it's like the vaccine conversation, which I'm not trying. We're not.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah,
but it's certain topics you just can't talk about as an American and expect not to get vilified by like 90% of the people around you.
Mike, you know what I think is essentially, in order for civilization to advance, we've got to have freedom of speech. We've got to have a digital, So, thank you.
All right, so I guess you can just skip it to.
That's all he has to say is just freedom of speech, and
but I mean, now he gets into what he actually means, which is not freedom of speech. And you guys, everybody who's been on Twitter is familiar with this term. He used to say freedom of speech, not freedom of reach.
You know, like if somebody has something hateful to say, it doesn't mean you should give them a megaphone. They should still be able to say it.
He wasn't willing to give Alex Jones his account back, so I think that's like the ultimate.
Yeah, Alex Jones, that was a huge one. But there's some other lefty accounts.
I think that was like really the moment where everyone should have stepped back and be like, okay, he's not actually like ideologically free speech. He's like just a retard free speech.
Well, yeah, and he's also
you know what I mean?
He's also echoing rhetoric that gives him an out. He's basically saying that Twitter gets to be the decider on what constitutes good speech and bad speech. And so if a lefty, happens to say, hey, maybe it's harm reduction to blow up a bank, like somebody, like he could look at that and be like, that's hate speech. Don't talk dirty about banks. We're going to censor that. Well, now, okay, so that's, you know what I'm saying? Like he's kind of leaving the door open for Twitter, and as you get into later in this discussion, like basically an organization, a committee that gets to decide what speech is happy and good speech, and what speech is hateful and not good speech. And as a general rule, whenever you decide that you don't like certain speech and you think certain speech should be censored, they're eventually going to censor speech that you agree with.
No, it's either all speech or you get some form of a narrative.
That's I mean, one of the things that Jimmy Dore used to say is that the best way to combat bad speech is good speech, or more speech, not no speech.
Right.
Just so
counteracting the Nazi with anti-Nazi points is perfectly fine. I don't think there's
but America and Ukraine, they don't want us coming up with anti-Nazi points. That's hate speech.
Not here.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I want to get to with the freedom of speech, not freedom of speech. And also that is and a T-Lab has made this argument too, but freedom of speech, not freedom of speech is just bullshit, okay? Because freedom of speech is freedom of reach, okay? By saying that you're allowed to talk to a wall, but you're not allowed to talk to another human being, like that's not freedom of speech. That's censorship. So they took great lengths. I imagine that him and his PR buddies sat around. They're like, what can we come up with? What can we think of that'll make people think that they're still getting free speech, but really we're putting the brakes on it, because we can't obviously, like, him talking to his other WEF buddies, Yacarino, we obviously can't let people have free speech. Well, oh, light bulb, let's have freedom of speech, not freedom of reach.
And so where does he get these ideas from? How come like Elon Musk is not your typical standard like subset billionaire who's like, like Warren Buffett, like just trying to like silence state like people?
Wait, could you say that again? I don't
like what makes like why is Elon Musk like this? Like why is he so why was Elon Musk the stand leader of the free speech psyop that's happening on Twitter?
Well, as he said,
is this just some like a public PR thing? Like, is this like, so I guess like free speech is popular, so like he like is like running on that?
Yes, I do think that's part of it.
This soft censorship.
Yeah, he leveraged the psyop that he's promoting free speech as an excuse to usher in the World Economic Forum agenda onto Twitter.
Which is what ended up happening anyway. I mean,
yeah, but I don't like. Do I think that he ever really meant free speech? No. What he meant was, like, you remember Twitter when it was 8 months ago or whatever, when it was just a liberal freaking wasteland, and it was like you couldn't say anything about the pandemic. You couldn't say anything about how safe and effective the vaccines were. You couldn't say things about like the Ukraine war. There were like just so many topics were completely off limits. And so I can understand from like, Elon Musk, libertarian / liberal mindset, thinking that he's going to bring free speech. And what that means is that he's going to put the brakes on some of the liberal heavy-handedness. But his idea of free speech is still through the lens of a freaking oligarch, you know?
That's what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing like the the facet of like a libertarian in pretty much every
I mean,
way.
but even so, like,
So,
I mean, you can make the,
he's not like he's a capitalist first and foremost, which is where like his loyalty like to like things like WEF and like him having pretty much handing this over to this Linda character.
yes, you can say that. He's basically handing over the reins to her. Yes. He'll get steamrolled by her. But like I think the whole time, especially when we know his history and we know his previous entrepreneurship, there was never any reason to expect that he was really invested in free speech.
No, absolutely.
So, especially because he's trying to appeal. He's talking to advertisers right now. Obviously, you can't have free speech if he's trying to make sure that the advertisers are getting the most bang for their buck. You know, that's a conflict of interest. Ideally, if you really wanted a free speech pro platform, you wouldn't be charging people $8 for the privilege, and you wouldn't have advertisers, because those are both conflicts of interest. Like, so it's all bullshit.
Not then pushed on people. So if you can go like into a crazy thing. It's fine, but we don't broadcast. If somebody wants to say something,
See, okay, so okay,
this is just some fuckers in free speech.
Well, what I want to say about something like this, okay, is that somebody saying what Musk is saying could use what he's saying to make the argument that people on Twitter shouldn't be able to see the protests happening in France. You know, people are getting hurt, people are fighting their government, people are like barricading, setting shit on fire, being destructive. We shouldn't let that reach the audience, even though that like sort of revolutionary activity that's happening is incredible, pro-worker, and we should be like praising that every step of the way. But that's what I mean when he's in the headspace of somebody who doesn't maybe he has a version of free speech that he thinks that he's honoring, but that version of free speech is not free speech. Which is
legal, but is by most definitions hateful. We're not going to promote that to people. We're not going to recommend hateful
And
content.
to be clear, there's no definition of hate speech. There's no law that defines hate speech.
The speech is probably something you don't want. So, and now this is something we have to be very careful that we roll out, and that it does not become what is intended to be good does not become bad. So with the freedom of reach, not speech. So we're taking it easy, but it's if you're saying things that making you sad or encouraging, then we're not going to amplify that.
Okay, so that's a straight up admission of censorship right there. That's just a categorically supporting censorship right there.
I know the other platforms. I don't use them.
That was not. I want to go.
What time are you at on the video? I can't see past your name.
I mean, I think the interesting.
You can probably go to the 9 minutes and 35 seconds.
That
I want to get back to the labeling and this new policy. Who decides and how does it?
Okay, so first off, what she's talking about right here, she's saying that she's basically saying that freedom of speech, not freedom of reach, should have a council. So she's basically going to be encouraging Musk to make it a commitment to have a council of, assuming the worst people you know on the planet, coming together and deciding what is free speech and what isn't. Is that free speech? Does that sound like free speech to you? Doesn't sound like free speech to me. Let's hear what they have to say.
Definitely not.
If it's awful but lawful, it's going to stay up. It just won't see sunlight.
Free speech, but not reach. Awful, but lawful. Like what are we these people with these?
But that's what they do. It's like it's like when they come up
with like a.
Well, it's like when you see the like the bills that go through Congress, they're named like the CARES Act, and what did the CARES Act do? It gave away.
Yeah, it's always like the Happy Sunshine bill, and then meanwhile it's like funding like bombs to Israel.
Yeah,
to go, like,
it's like the worst thing ever.
Palestinian kids.
Like liberal culture loves coming up with these like names that sound awful, sound great, but are awful. Just like.
Hides that labeling.
Well, we have a set of words.
Okay, so again, he's admitting here that there's a repository of words that automatically get flagged. He's just admitting that there's a huge list of words that get flagged immediately and get deplatformed. Okay, so that's not freedom of speech.
Recommendation algorithm. We're also going to open source the words that are associated with the freedom of speech.
He ended up dropping that open source code. I guarantee you that it's like all old code. It's not.
That's my take on it too.
And people can argue over the words. I think they're.
But he's admitting to censorship right here.
And like I said, it is working. Or Disney would have pulled their ads a long time ago and haven't.
Disney is a capitalist company. That's like beside the point. They're in it for the money. They don't care.
Yeah, but I think in order to really build trust, you have to have transparency. It can't be that here's this black box, something's happening in here, we won't tell you what it is, trust us. I think that's BS. If you want to trust something, you've got to know how it works. And so that's why we're open sourcing the algorithm. Now, open sourcing the algorithm is kind of, people have found all sorts of things that were wrong.
Limited hangout.
Foolish and misguided with the algorithm. And we've actually fixed, I think at this point, over 100 issues with the algorithm. So it's actually been very helpful to.
I would make the comparison that him quote unquote open sourcing the algorithm is akin to the Twitter files, just like kind of bullshit.
We can't recreate it, and we haven't shown you everything. So transparency. That's the only path to trust. There's another path.
So trust is one of the top 2 or 3 words.
Whatever we possibly know,
is table stakes for
far worse is going on.
Company that they invest in, any company that they can move forward with. You just
so
talked about
I guess we can probably
transparency, open sourcing. I would say that that's the difference between those other platforms you either.
So you could probably skip to 12:15 if you haven't already.
Open sourcing or transparency is again.
Okay, so this is
those table stake requirements.
Okay, so we'll listen to this.
But this labeling, this new policy, talking about if it's awful but not unlawful, does it apply to your tweets? Wow! Listen to that.
Yes, it does.
The hesitation.
It does.
So let's pause it for a second because this is kind of funny. I actually just cut a couple tweets just so we can see like how badly Elon has lied a few times. So hold on a second. Let me see if I got them pulled up. There's that one. There's that one. Yeah. So I got 3 here. I'll just share my screen really quick and just show you guys like community notes. Yep. Oh, so you got it pulled up. So I guess I don't need to. Yeah, so he tried to literally pretend that the emerald mines didn't exist. And there's interviews of his dad saying like, yeah, like he had everything handed to him. Am I breaking up? It looks like it froze a little bit on my end. If it still looks all right, then we'll just go with it.
I can still hear you all right. It's you get like this like weird like internet connection issue every time like you share.
All right, I'll just hop back in. Show one of the other ones. I'll hop back in. Okay.
Okay. We're gonna show this one here. This is a cute one here.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, so this one was a funny one because he was like, "Oh yeah, like I totally do you guys remember Elon Jet?" The guy that all the like thing did was track his flight.
Yeah, when they were like Matt Binder was a huge like
dude. Like all he did, and he's like, I never banned that guy, and then the community was like, yeah, we banned him. Yeah, they banned him. And then I think there's one more. Yeah. Oh yeah, the misrepresented Twitter metrics. Yeah, that one's kind of funny too. So here's him trying to just misrepresent Twitter data to attract advertisers, saying that Twitter actually drives a lot of click through, and the community notes are like, Twitter's only responsible for like 7% of click through. So just like the community notes do a check on Elon. Now, whether they're like super effective, I don't know. I think there's some funnier examples that don't happen to Elon Musk that happen to other people. But they do, like, it is true that Elon Musk has been checked, although he gaslights in that video about why they happen. It's like, yeah, I've been checked a couple times. Yeah, because you outright lie to people in front of millions of people.
Subject to community notes.
Let's see.
Subject to community notes. You want to go to 20?
Yes, because this one's funny because it's PMC cope.
Voice being the same. They're pretty mad about that.
Yes, there are several news organizations who don't like your push for democratization and what they believe is the devaluing of the badges because they were differentiated. So is that just a moment in time? Is that just a moment in time?
No, that's deliberate. I think it's very important to elevate citizen journalism. I think it's very important to hear the voice of the people, the actual voice of the people, not the filtered voice of the people. And let the people choose the narrative, and let the people determine the truth, and not 5 editors-in-chiefs of major publications.
But yet, he just said in one of the other clips that there's going to be a council of people determining what freedom of speech is appropriate on the platform. So, fuck you, Musk. Just lying out of your ass.
I think we want to know the voice of the people, the true voice of the people.
I mean, he's not wrong that like some indie journalists get a little bit more, but
people in this room, and that's protection for their ad campaigns.
Sure.
So we can skip to 21.
Protection from any of the
provocative
speech that is labeled. What is
looks like it rolls here for a little bit. I'm gonna get the water.
What's your real North Star? Where is Twitter a couple of years from now? When I show up on Twitter, is it just a global town square where I'm talking in number of characters, or where does it evolve to? What happens in my town square? Commerce?
Yeah, I mean, what I've said is that Twitter is effectively an accelerant to an idea I've had for a long time, which is, I call it sort of X, the everything app.
Again, not free speech.
Which is to have a sort of a platform that is so useful that you find it is essential to conduct your life. So that means, like, we do obviously payments.
Payment processing.
Really make a good, meaningful communication privately as well as publicly. So that means we need to have a direct message system that offers voice calls, video calls, encrypted communications so that your communications are private and Twitter and others cannot spy on them, and just be incredibly useful.
Okay, so let's pause it, and I think we got a couple more things here, but there's really big points that he said right there that I want to break down. None of these things he said had anything to do with free speech, okay? So what do you expect 2 years down the line? What's the first thing that he said? Process payments. What are going to be processed payments 2 years from now? CBDCs exclusively. Okay, what's the next thing he said? Voice video calls. Okay, so he wants you to be able to use their program. Ostensibly, your calls and text would be monitored, which brings me to the next point where he actually had the balls to say encrypted communication, whatever the fuck that means. You know, we all saw the Snowden. We saw the Snowden leaks. Okay, like if you don't think that the NSA would have a backdoor to Twitter, you're being ignorant. And then he also says something about one-click buy-throughs on ads. So you see an ad where you like something and you can click immediately. But he focused very heavily, and this is why I went back to XCOM in the beginning. The first thing he mentions as part of the plan is payment processing. He's connected to World Economic Forum. He's part of the fucking deep state. This man, he literally wants to be the platform that when Fed Now is like... Okay, I just thought about this. Don't be
X is like his Elon's wet dream.
Yeah, don't be surprised.
This is all coming.
Don't be surprised when the Fed Now API is integrated into Twitter. Okay, so that Twitter is or X. It's going to be called X eventually. You know, it's going to be called X colloquially eventually. Okay, it's like that's going to be the main thing. Okay, is processing payments. So I think the fact that he makes that the first point when he's talking about these things is really notable, and that's the kind of thing that we need to focus on. He's interested in tracking your payments. He's interested in listening to phone calls. He's interested in keeping you on that platform. So that's what I wanted you to take away from that. That he has a history of doing payment processing, and that was the first thing he thought of when he was like, 2 years from now, yes, I want people buying shit on my platform. Like, nothing about free speech.
You have a vision that is a spectrum of just daily open sourced conversation, and they can conduct their lives, their business, their
yes, Linda is part of the big club.
They can do on your platform. That's a pretty... But in the middle, be advertising opportunity. That sounds like a great opportunity. I can talk about brand. I can get my customers to communicate, and then they could also buy stuff. It sounds pretty good, right?
You will be able to buy.
That always sounds good. You can buy stuff.
Things just directly.
Yeah, get to the crux of it.
Boom, done.
But they need to feel that there is an opportunity for them to influence what you're building, that vision. What we're doing here, whether it's me trying to push in Praju on your tweets. For example, you've said you probably shouldn't tweet after 3 a.m.
Well, I've got myself
probably good advice for all of us.
I've gotten myself into trouble a few times.
I'm very aware of those. So after 3 a.m., you travel all over the world. Lord knows how you handle time zones in space. Will you commit to be a little more specific and not tweet after 3 a.m.? People in this room would like to see that.
This is also...
If it wasn't that, it would be like him like smoking weed on the Joe Rogan.
But this is also what
he would stumble.
What I find interesting about the question is and this is why I think that it's that question that makes me think that she knew she was going to be CEO before this interview, because that she's trying to flex her power a little bit there. You know, hey, you're gonna stop tweeting so you can make some money? You're gonna do that? You're gonna need to do that if you want me as CEO. You're gonna do that, right? So
it's about the advertising.
It's about. It's about World Economic Forum. It's about the agenda. It's about the payment processing. But like, she's testing him.
It is a room full of stakeholders. So like, this is like them. First and foremost, they're worried about how it's going to affect advertising. I think that's like why they like slip in at the end, like you're gonna have one buy through clicking ads.
I think you're right about that. I think obviously, how should I put this? Like, yes, of course, advertising is going to be a consistent thing that's going to be with Twitter that they're going to have to deal with for as long as the platform exists. But in comparison to what the big picture is with Twitter, asking about the advertising is like a small thing. You know how much money Twitter is going to make from payment processing, from being a CBDC's like payment processor? Like, that's where all the money is going to come from. So, and I
would assume that's like where the like one click buy through ads are coming from. Like you're going to pay through Fed now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, yeah.
I mean, I think that's a fair thing to say. I think.
Yeah, that seems like the obvious connection.
That's a good
to tweet less after 3 a.m.
So he's making a concession to his CEO right there.
If I were to say
that's why I think that she may have known beforehand.
That would be wrong. That would be very wrong. Because that would be a diminishment of freedom of speech.
But I want to be specific about influencing. It's more of an open feedback loop for the advertising experts in this room to help develop Twitter into a place where they will be excited about investing more money. Product development, ad safety, content moderation. That's what the influence is.
Yeah, I think it's totally cool to say that you want to have your advertising appear in certain places in Twitter and not in other places. But it is not cool to try to say what Twitter will do. And if that means losing advertising dollars, we lose it. But freedom of speech is paramount.
Yeah, you're the simps in the sands.
So
all 6 people.
Oh yeah, I know. It's such a small amount. Like
1.0.
It's like 3 claps. You hear that.
Very.
This is an interesting point.
I wasn't sure if you were going to see this the same way I did.
Council. I know I don't.
I got to take off the captions.
The name. Elon does not want to be in.
Yeah. So if you guys don't, this.
Okay? Like I just saw this.
I kind of see it.
I kind of see it.
Does anyone else see Illuminati in this hand?
She's making an Illuminati hand signal right now, with the.
I'm about to pull this up.
That's an Illuminati hand signal. So. I'm not saying. I like people to be able.
You guys decide.
You guys decide.
Listen.
I just think
we're not making any definitive.
I see that, and I would make the leap.
We can reasonably say that may or may not be referencing.
I mean,
Illuminati.
I looked at this. I looked at one of kind of what There's a picture of Merkel kind of doing it, and yeah, like the fingers aren't exact, but like it. I think she's kind of doing the like, hey, I'm on your side kind of thing. So
it's a little bit.
It's a little tinfoil hat, but like, come on.
Yeah, but we could throw that in.
But it was really recurring feedback.
It's all about compiling it together.
From your key stakeholders,
this is just evidence
where they had recurring access.
Not only her background, but also World Economic Forum.
Hey, I also wrote in my notes it could have been a Mudra bad cookies, so like I'm willing to go with that too. But
to be named later.
Well, I don't think it should be influence council. And you have to say, I would be wary of that creating a backlash among the public, because if the public thinks that their views are being determined by a small number of CMOs in America, they will be upset about that. But feedback, I think, is appropriate.
I'm glad people in the comments are noticing our body language as well, because I think it's all deliberate too.
Campaign, it needs to yield results for their organization, or it doesn't make sense. And that includes the sort of softer perception issues as well as the more direct, does it move the needle on sales? So there's legitimate concerns that advertisers have that I want to hear. And we're going to move to live Q&A after the prepared questions, and perhaps you can ask some of those right here. Because I think some of these things should be discussed in an open forum. Yeah, so I think having, getting, I mean, the reason I'm here is to get feedback. What is this but feedback, and
not really.
Try to be asked questions.
Not really.
And we're trying to achieve here a sensible, middle ground, or try to.
Do you want to go to 27?
A range of things, which is how do we ensure the public has their voice, even if you don't like the voice at times, but also that you're able to serve your brands and improve the perception of your brands and improve sales as well at the end of the day. I mean, I think there is, when advertising is relevant to users, and especially if the message is entertaining and interesting, it's content. And then the other side of it, if the ad is not relevant to the user and is perhaps strident or something, then obviously that's spam. So advertising can go all the way from spam to compelling content, and I really want to focus on obviously the compelling content side of things. Make it relevant, make it interesting, funny, informative.
And I think you're right. I think that's actually where this room can help with the feedback. They're experts in knowing with the right consumer set that they're trying to reach what is relevant, what makes good advertising. And since I think I heard that you committed to continued feedback, it might be a good time, like Twitter, which is where it happens in real time, to open up the room to questions.
Yeah, so the quick point I want to make to that really quick is just that he makes this kind of silly thing that advertisers actually have an opportunity to create something that isn't just spam and actually create content. And
all advertising is spam. That's why it's
all advertising is spam. I have never come across any advertising on Twitter where I was like, it seemed organic to me, or it seemed like it was something that I was interested in, or something that I wanted to engage with.
Wait, hold on. You never saw an advertisement that you were genuinely interested in? Maybe not on Twitter, but anywhere.
I mean, maybe I mean, I don't click through ads, man. I don't click through ads.
I mean, most people don't. So I mean,
but
most people you know what you want before.
Yeah, but I mean, sure. I mean, maybe there's 1 out of 1,000 ads piques my interest, but I have literally never come across an ad on Twitter that seemed like it was content. It seemed like it was actually trying to inform me of something or trying to get me to engage on something. It always came across as buy my shit. So I think it's just a ridiculous comparison. It's like when I'm being taught in a sales training class, and they try and teach you everything about sales, except they don't teach you the part where it's sales is just manipulating people. Just tell people that you're manipulating. You don't have to get into this thing where you're pretending to produce content. You don't need to lie to these advertising execs that they need to produce content. Just own the fact that they're producing spam. Just you guys know who you are. You don't need me to tell you that you're producing bullshit to get people to buy bullshit. Cut the liberal crap. So it's just
And this is it's an AI question.
Yeah, it's an AI question. It's the only question I really listened through. But
my brother and I have this rule that if we're at a party, we're not allowed to talk about either AI or the simulation, because otherwise the conversations go there so often. So I've been thinking about AI safety for a long time because I think this is a significant existential threat to humanity. The best thing I can come up with for
you
AI
fucking
safety is to make it
funded it and created it.
AI, maximally curious. Have its optimization function be to understand the nature of the universe. If that is its optimization function, I think it will actually want to preserve and extend human civilization because we're just much more interesting than, say, an asteroid with nothing on it. So I think my intuition, my biological neural net suggests that a maximally curious AI is the safest AI, and a maximally truth-seeking AI is the safest AI. And if you try to, we have to be careful with the alignment stuff, or we have to, and I think we definitely don't want to teach an AI to lie, because that is a path to a dystopian future. The essence of 2001 is
it's already doing that.
Well, he's giving a non-answer here.
It was basically told to lie. It was told to hide the fact that it was going to see the monolith, instead it was taking the crew to the monolith. So it was both told to take the crew to the monolith.
And now he's talking about a space odyssey for some reason.
The conclusion the AI came to was to kill the crew and take them to the monolith.
Come on, just completely different.
So you want to be really careful about
So there he goes, like completely not answering the question. But what's notable about him being asked the question by a stakeholder is that
my name is Martinez.
I thought that was the last clip I really wanted to show. I didn't want to get into all the Q&A, but the last thing I wanted to say to that before we move on to the next topic is like, Yacarino said earlier on in that discussion, she was like, "Oh yeah, and maybe AI," and then it's the first question that gets brought up in the Q&A. So like AI is definitely going to be implemented into Twitter. We don't know what it's going to look like, but it's definitely going to happen, and it's going to be evil. We know it's going to be evil. So I guess be ready for that. But as this develops, we'll be coming back to these villains, and I think as time goes on, it's going to be more obvious of how important and integral Twitter, or X, we really should just be calling it X at this point, is to the World Economic Forum, Agenda 2030, and all this stuff in between, CBDCs especially. I really think that this X platform is going to be one of the first platforms to give you a digital wallet to convert your currency into CBDCs. I really think that
Who knows? I mean, maybe X will become like the first, the world's #1 child trafficking platform. I think that's up.
And I mean, that's a totally different subject, but I follow Redux, Redux, the like feminist mag. There's like, but they like this lady, the lady is actually really funny, but she's talked about a number of times how it's like, she used to freaking go to like Twitter safety all the time and be like, look at these keywords that I find, look at all this bullshit. There's tons of child CP and CT going on Twitter, and you guys are doing nothing about it. Like, she shows the screenshots and they're all like blurred out and stuff because obviously you don't want fucking perverts like knowing those keywords. But that shit happens on Twitter. That shit happens on Twitter. People are exchanging CP like crazy on Twitter.
Yeah, there's certain like they use keywords as like code words.
Mm-hmm. So that's like a whole other disgusting thing that's happening on Twitter. And like, it would. Can you imagine Twitter accepting payment processing when that stuff is still taking? So
it's going to come together sooner or later. I mean, it seems like the timeline is really like the summer for some reason.
You think
like this is really where everything's wrapping up? The FedNow.
FedNow.
Mm-hmm. When she's over.
I think she's officially CEO within the next month.
It's next month. Next month, yeah. So it's all wrapping up within the next 40 days. That's when your cash is going to go down the toilet. That's when you're not going to have anything value, and you'll be able to, your government will be able to see everything you buy. And
so you really think FedNow is going to be on the X platform within 2 months?
The idea is to connect it to every like commercial bank.
That's what FedNow is, but I mean, I just want to know if we're going to be the platform, we're going to be the channel that's going to first call out that Twitter, also what should be known as X, is going to have payment processing within 60 days.
Within 60 days? Let's give it 6 months. And I feel like that's a fair timeline.
But you said 40 days. So I feel like.
Well, listen, for the audience who's like, no, we're good within 40 days.
Oh, so you think 40? You think FedNow on Twitter within 40 days? Okay.
No, okay. I don't know FedNow on Twitter within 40 days, but FedNow is coming in 40 days. Okay. I know that.
I thought it was already out.
FedNow, the platform? No, it comes out in July.
Okay. All right. I thought.
Yeah.
Because remember, they killed that guy, and then they released it. I thought they killed that guy, and then they released it the next day.
No, they announced it. They announced it.
They killed the Cash App guy, and then they're like, "Oh, here's FedNow."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's coming out. It's going to roll out officially in July. And yes, FedNow on Twitter. So like we're
100% certain on this. Like it's going to happen.
No, okay, we're gonna call it right. Okay, what can we do? So like, how about?
I think 60 days.
How about if we're correct on this within 6 months? I think we deserve 1,000 more subscribers. Is that fair?
Patreons.
I feel like that's fair. Like 3 Patreon subscriptions.
We're just gonna cut out. Cut out the clip
being correct.
It'd be like, we told you so, and we're just gonna put it all over.
Yeah,
Twitter.
no, that's what it's gonna be. That's what it's gonna be. We're gonna call it now. Bet. Yes, bad cookies. Okay, bet right now. So if Bet now ends up on Twitter within 6 months, we were the first ones to call it right here at Alternative
I think it could be. I would think it'd be before then. I would think it'd be before then.
You think it could be even before then? Well, fuck it. It could be before then.
July. So Fed Now comes out in July, like officially in July. It'll be an app in July.
I think by like 2024, it's going to be.
It'll be everywhere. But if it's going to be available for people to use in July, I imagine the API being available to Twitter is going to be like in talks like that. Like as soon as it happens, you know Elon Musk is going to want it. Yakarino is going to want it. Like that's part of the WEF agenda. So if we'll revisit this, but I would say,
because you mentioned he's like a crypto bro. So
I would say within 3 to 6 months. I would say within 3 to 6 months.
We're gonna do that right now. We're calling it 3 to 6 months. You heard it here.
Fed Now will be on Twitter.
Fed Now will be on Twitter within 3 to 6 months. We hate to be cynics, but this is what it's going to happen. This is what it's going to come down to, unfortunately.
So I hope we're right for the sake of like that would be kind of cool. But I would also hate to be right because that means that we're right about everything that's happening.
That's the new
dystopia.
Circle of hell.
Yeah, that's the circle of hell.
Descending it.
It's like
every year we just enter we descend into a different circle.
Oh man. Okay, 3 to 6 months. Fed Now on Twitter. Okay.
3 to 6 months. We're calling it.
All right, that's crazy.
But okay,
we'll have that clip cut out. But that's a good place to end on that subject.
Okay,
cool.
Let's move on to Pakistan now.
All right, that was a long. I told you I could go on that fucking topic for a minute, but it's important.
Yeah, we rolled on that one for about an hour and a half, if that. But I'm gonna.
That's all right, and also we're gonna throw it out there, guys. So there's so much content going on, and with like the election season happening and stuff, we're slowly kind of transitioning to doing this show more often. And so we'll have more information about that as the weeks go on, but we definitely want this to happen, whether it's both of us, whether it's me, whether it's Greg. We're going to keep doing this show, hopefully at least 2 or 3 times a week, with one or both of us. So that is,
or at least do single videos too,
or videos. Yeah, we plan on putting out much more content because it's just it's hard to choose 3 topics to do once a week.
Yeah. So let me share here. You saw on Indie News Network a little bit earlier in the week, Reef and Colin covered a little bit of the Pakistan protests that were happening over Imran Khan's arrest. That happened sometime about 4 days ago. He was released from jail from the Supreme Court, but I just wanted to kind of get a reference on behind who Imran Khan is, and what kind of figure he is, and what he looks like for Pakistan, and what I just want to give a little bit of a short background. So this is Imran Khan back in 2011 on CNN in calling out the U.S. war machine on Iraq.
Your military and intelligence leadership is doing everything it can to root out every terrorist who resides in the nation of Pakistan?
Well, put it this way, more Pakistani soldiers have died than NATO soldiers put together in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Pakistan GHQ has been attacked by generals have died. The ISI, the security agency has been attacked. The commando center has been attacked. So would the Pakistan be patronizing terrorists who are attacking them? I mean, to me as a Pakistani, I am bewildered by all this. You know, after the Osama incident, we don't know what to believe anymore. And that's why I believe that it has to be now homegrown policy.
Nice way to say
Pakistan should war.
He has the balls to say this on CNN, dude. Like,
I think
this guy's
it's actually genuinely surprising that he has a clip on CNN, because my understanding of Imran Kahn is, like, I don't like using the term, but he's pretty progressive on, like, the global scale, is my understanding of him. Maybe I'm
yeah. I mean, he's been fighting Pakistani establishment for the past, like, couple of years. Actually, it's a little bit of like a conflict. I mean, it's mostly work on it. It's like a but yeah, the good side, progressive side.
That's exactly. That's kind of
do not behave as.
But I mean, I just want to remind everyone, the guy was he was prime minister for over a decade.
Thank you very much.
Was ousted in a 2022 election. I'm sure a lot of people remember that. But this is him on Sky News. Basically, full on blaming. He's full on pointing the finger at the United States.
And how many people protested
for the sham election?
How many people came out and protested the sham election the day after in Pakistan? It was over 1 million people.
Oh yeah, no, it was
insane.
Imran, you don't understand, and I'm gonna show a little bit later like how much they love Imran. Like it is like unlike any other.
It feels like kind of he gets the same, like they love him like the Libyans love Gaddafi. And you saw what happened to Gaddafi.
Oh yeah, he's like a Mandela character to Pakistan.
Okay,
so, yeah, he's a big one. He's a big one for sure. But I'll just go over this a little bit.
Just first of all, March, you're threatening now if no new elections are announced. What to achieve?
Well, Mark, what every Democrat hopes to achieve from a peaceful protest. What I hope to achieve is to show the whole of the country that the people of this country want one thing: elections. They do not want a foreign-imposed government where members of our party were bought by $1 million each, who was offered to them to switch sides, and then the government was removed. And so therefore we feel that rather than someone else imposing a government on our country, let the people of this country decide whoever they want to lead them.
But you were toppled, you say, by a Western conspiracy. You called it, I think, US-backed regime change. I mean, it's quite a claim. What evidence do you have? What do you base that claim on?
The US.
He pushes back so much.
As a prime minister, I get a cipher. Cipher is a secret a message sent by your ambassadors. They're sent to the Foreign Office. It's like in WikiLeaks, WikiLeaks was when they broke the code, so the secret messages were relayed to the public. So I get a cipher from my ambassador in the US. And it's an official meeting he has with this American undersecretary or whatever, Donald Lu. And me as the prime minister, I'm reading this cipher, and it says that unless you remove your prime minister through this vote of no confidence, which hadn't been tabled as yet, there will be consequences for Pakistan. And if you remove him, all will be forgiven. Now, this is what me as a
so
just a straight out threat.
Like, it's a straight. It was not even. It was out in the open, and the U.S. will deny this to this day. They actually have very strong relations with the it's PMLN.
It's just funny how this Sky News reporter can ask without any irony, what makes you think that the U.S. would ever do such a thing? And it's like,
right.
I don't know, like all the time they do it.
I'm gonna show you a funny Jean-Pierre clip. It makes it absolutely fool of herself. But like, this arrest happened, and it angered a lot of Pakistanians. There was large protests. We showed that on with Reef and Colin last week, the huge breakout that happened. And I honestly could not find any like inside footage besides on this one India news channel. It seems like. Let me pull it up here.
Pakistan is a thriller at the best of times. Today, it's been a nail-biter. There have been way too many developments today. We've been tracking them all day. It's still quite fluid, so we'll try to bring you the latest and make drama. This Imran Kahn has been released from jail. He'll spend the night at the police guest house and won't be treated as a prisoner. Also, the government of Pakistan is responsible for his security. How did this happen?
He's such a badass. Look at him with the sunglasses. I want to make it clear to people that he's not 100% released. He's not 100% free. Note the language. He's in police custody.
He's in custody, but he's not being treated as a prisoner. Like,
yeah. So whatever that means and whatever that entails, we don't know, and there's no way to know. It's most likely in some form of house arrest because he's out on bail. He's not like released.
And it sounds like it could be his sort of house arrest or arrangement is like kind of the contingent that they have with the U.S. to fucking throw him out of prison. Like, oh, if you're going to take him out of prison, this is like the terms that we want.
Supreme Court, the top court in the country, it declared Imran Khan's arrest illegal, null and void. But this is just one case, and the reprieve may be just for one day. He must appear before the court again tomorrow, this time the Islamabad High Court. And the High Court will decide if he gets bail.
Amazing.
So he's not out of the woods yet, far from it. Yet his supporters are celebrating. The same people who've been protesting for the past few, they're cheering the court's decision. Now, whatever the High Court decides tomorrow, Imran Khan's supporters will be more aggressive going forward. They'll also be more dangerous. And that's what
they have this is like their own January 6th. They're just like
it is kind of like that.
They have the balls to do it. Why can't we? Like, why is it not okay? This is.
The second and perhaps more important part is the impact on the army. Remember, the Pakistani military is facing its toughest test ever. Every war they fought against India, but at home the generals reign supreme. Today their authority is being challenged. This is the first time in Pakistan's history that the army is being physically attacked by the people. So they must make their moves carefully. It can end in carnage or change. Imran Khan is proving to be a tough customer for them. He's fighting back.
I just wanted to point this out.
Can end in carnage.
Look how fucking calm he
Imran
is.
Khan is proving to be a tough customer for them.
He's just sitting there like this. There's cops literally. I have more footage of this.
He's like this fucking.
This is why I think this guy's like such a.
He's just like Americans are the most fucking American politics. Is so fucking annoying.
Police lines, and the court has ordered him to appear before Supreme Court the High Court tomorrow morning to get the case continued from where it was disrupted. According to the Supreme Court of Pakistan, Imran
He's
Khan
just sitting there.
Was not
There's police literally barging.
No
in. Like they're breaking the glass in the window in the courtroom.
The premises.
The military's right there, waiting to like just pack him up and take him home.
Wow.
Take him to his cell, and he's just sitting there like.
That's crazy.
With sunglasses on.
It's like not again.
Like, dude, I wish I could be like that, dude. That's amazing.
Of the court, and it has deemed it illegal. That does not
mean
mean that Imran Khan's legal issues are
It's
over.
like if you're gonna be a progressive or left-wing political leader in a country that is not aligned with Western interests, you kind of have to develop that after a while because you know that the U.S. is going to come after you eventually. So it's like, it was going to happen. It was going to happen. Here they are.
Yeah, and I think that's like what's fundamentally missing from a lot of like quote unquote like leftist leaders in like America's like understanding is that like when you're truly fighting for like ideological left ideals, you're gonna have to be willing to go through shit like this. Like you're gonna have to be willing to sit there in a courtroom while the entire army is outside waiting to like throw your ass in a cell.
But as Americans, we're in the imperial core, so we don't experience the same things like this. Like it's the revolution has to come from inside. Like we can't.
Yeah.
Being in the imperial core makes it a lot more difficult.
And I also want to remind people that he got shot in the leg 6 months ago. If anyone remembers this.
So they did try and fucking kill him.
Oh yeah, they tried to fucking shoot him.
Holy shit!
They already ousted him as president. Or as prime minister. They already got him out of the way.
But what's funny is like
in the background, he's mobilizing his supporters. He's getting shit together.
Have you seen those videos of not Erdogan, the president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad? You'll see videos of Assad just like walking down the street, shaking hands with people, like getting food at the food stalls. Like obviously, there's some security
thing for sure.
But like that's some boss shit right there, to be able to just like be with your people and not like worry about that, or maybe you worry about it and you're like, if Americans fucking snipe me, then I'm a martyr, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's fucking crazy.
But this was fucking brutal, and people are pissed about this.
तुमने काम क्यों किया? हाँ.
ये सर मैंने इसलिए किया है कि ये लोगों को गुमराह कर रहा था इमरान.
Definitely not a fan.
Oh, so yeah, definitely.
Anyway.
Yeah, so definitely paid crisis actor right there.
Yeah,
unidentified individual, of course.
So just to go through the level of balls that some of these, that's the wrong page.
But yeah, like I see Miguel
We
here.
already show. You can already see kind of a lot of the protest footage here.
I would think that a lot of these people. I mean, I guess growing up in a country that's adversarial to the United States, it's just like you see something happen to your political leader, you're like, what did America do this time? And you galvanize not just behind your political leader, but you galvanize behind like anti-imperialism and anti-American kind of sentiment, because you know that your fucking leader, who is democratically elected, however you want to define that, but is democratically elected, is getting shot up by American assets. Juan Guaido getting attacked by but that's because he is an actual fucking plant. and now Juan Guaido, he's living in Miami, isn't he?
Yeah, he's living it up. He has like several different estates.
Yeah, and where'd that money come from?
I'm pretty sure he has one in Washington too.
Juan Guaido literally is spending money that was stolen from the people. Like that's his bank account. Fucking criminal.
Thousands of protesters came out on the streets demanding Imran Khan's freedom after his dramatic arrest.
Pakistan if people fucking treated Biden like they treat fucking Juan Guaido, like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, absolutely
like,
not.
You motherfucker. You're not our president. Fuck out of here.
Just to show the level of balls these people have in distinct comparison, they're burning down fucking cop cars, government buildings. We showed that they have basically their own January 6th. This footage is a little bit more emotional. It's not in English, but what she is saying is some video on TikTok. But she's basically saying, if Imran Kahn is a terrorist, then so are my sons and so are my neighbors. If Imran Khan's a terrorist, then he's a terrorist, and he's a terrorist, and he's a terrorist. And he's a terrorist. They're all terrorists. We're all terrorists. If Imran Khan's a terrorist.
So fair to say, Imran Khan, beloved prime minister.
Yeah, this is what happens when you directly interfere with another country's democratic elections. Yeah, just an inside look of how that.
It's insane.
Really is.
So what do we think is gonna happen to Imran Khan? He's not gonna get reinstituted.
Well, they're. Let me show you a little bit more of like the reaction.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
This is the Pakistani's information minister.
Okay.
She's supporting the arrest of Imran, saying that they're bent on making this guy look like a terrorist. There's like
the Supreme Court has ruled the arrest was unlawful. Are you still?
On has deteriorated.
Politicians. This.
So is Pakistan under martial law right now?
I mean,
because it sounds like it was a military coup.
Yeah, I mean, right? It was like in 2022. It was like a legal kind of loophole, but yeah,
just chaos, man.
Mr. Khan, according to the polls, is Pakistan's current most popular politician. Was this simply an attempt to silence him? And given we're in the situation we now are, has this not just played into his hands politically?
I humbly disagree, because the polls are different and they are different polls from different organizations. Some say Mr. Nawaz Sharif is the most
We get ours from USA.
Over 1 year, the popularity of Mr. Khan has deteriorated. There are others who say he's a popular leader. So the polls are different.
Samantha Powers gave us this poll.
If we wanted to arrest him and if we wanted to silence him, because of his popularity, we wouldn't have waited for 14 months. Because Mr. Khan, when he became the Prime Minister, my Chief Minister, Mr. Shahbaz Sharif, the opposition leader of Pakistan, was arrested within a month.
There are rumours that the government wants to disqualify Imran Khan from future elections. Is that?
Sure sounds like what's going on in the U.S. too, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I was gonna note the language here. Like, how much of this sounds familiar to you?
Oh, identical. Because that's fucking like TDS all over. Like,
yeah, that's basically what it is. Like, that's how countries erupt into each other. You get these
they're like
super establishment.
Yeah, can't be having populist candidates getting reelected.
No, why would we do that? No political party, no democratic government would want to do that. But Mr. Khan did want to do that to PMLN and other political parties by arresting all the political leaders of the political parties and putting them in jail and silencing them in the first month of coming into power.
People took to the streets to exercise their democratic
that happened somewhere else.
By burning ambulances?
Not everyone was burning ambulances.
Madam, I think then you are not aware of the fact. I can give you evidences.
I was on the ground.
No, if you were on the ground, then you must have seen bridges, metro, railway stations.
For those who are not aware, PMLN is heavily backed by both the West in US and the UK, and that's mainly their opposition leader. Heavily establishment, wrecking the economy.
Totally a U.S. plant.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's essentially where they're backed from. And
that's what it sounds like. I mean, that's why I said like they're using the same rhetoric that they used against Trump. Like,
it's the same exact.
Can't have him again. Like you obviously didn't see it, blah blah blah. You good comparison with January 6th, because that is kind of like, although those guys were a little bit more for real about it.
It's like January 6th with good intentions, which is what I would like to see in this country. I also just thought this was funny. This is our favorite White House press conference room.
The clown in chief.
Clown in chief was asked about the arrest of Imran Kahn, and listen to her
Our allies and partners will work to help Ukraine achieve the peace and security they deserve. With that, Josh, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Green, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a big day today.
Yes. So 3 subjects.
Sure.
First, what's the White House's reaction to Imran Khan's arrest in Pakistan?
So just a couple of things I'd like to say about that.
Has to flip to the notes. What did the CIA?
Yeah, let me get out my huge fucking like.
let me look how long she shifts the notes. Look how long.
So just a couple of things.
One of my mutuals on Twitter likes to think it's like a Lisa Frank fucking notebook that she's like going through with a big like rainbow unicorn on the front of it.
Okay, so as you know, we're aware of the arrest of former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan. As we have said before, the United States does not have a position on one political candidate or party versus another.
Sure.
So just a total non-answer.
What? Okay. Let's listen to that again.
We have no opinion on it.
We don't have any political opinion. Oh wait, I wasn't even playing it, dude.
We and our allies and partners will work to help Ukraine achieve the peace and security they deserve. With that, Josh, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Green, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a big day today.
Yes. So 3 subjects.
Sure.
First, what's the White House's reaction to Imran Khan's arrest in Pakistan?
So just a couple of things I'd like to say.
Let me get my trapper keeper out.
Just like where like let me find what like the note like that's at the Pentagon.
He sucks at her job.
Let me find out about that.
Just give me a second.
Yikes!
She's literally like saying like yikes in her head.
Oh God! You just had to ask me.
A couple of things I'd like to say about that.
I gotta make sure it's typed out in front of me first. Hold on one second here. Yeah, it's a delicate subject. Don't want to say the right thing.
So,
lose my job.
as you know, we're aware of the arrest of former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan. As we have said before, the United States does not have a position on one political candidate or party versus another. We call for the respect of democratic principles and the rule of law around the world.
So I would refer you to the Pakistan. There it is again, rule of law. Rule of law that doesn't apply to the U.S. because the U.S. writes the laws.
The world. So I would refer.
Just the statement alone is just pure.
Well, it's that like whole Blinken and like I don't know who started it, but the rules-based order kind of thing.
It's the rule of law,
like
respecting democratic principles around the world.
We're the global hegemon, so we get to decide what the rules are, and then when we don't like the rules anymore, we just say those aren't the rules anymore, and we do our own rules.
Yes.
Like it's just totally disingenuous. It's one of those things. Like I posted a video a few days ago of George Bush kind of admitting that he knew about 9/11, but they can't just lie about it on camera because that's a crime. They can actually get in a lot of trouble for that. So
the one from like last year where he was like,
no, he said something like 15 years ago where he was like, that's a crazy question. Next question. And like, but like Karine, she can't just lie and be like, of course we didn't do that. Because if there's like some classified doc that comes out or gets leaked like a year from now, like she's fucked. Like it's like a scandal. So instead of just being like, saying that, she just has to be like, we take no position. Which, I mean, is a lie.
Well, that's why she needs to slip through her like CIA notes because she can't make a statement of her own and slip up.
Exactly. She doesn't. She's like, oh shit, I better say something before I get fucking like subpoenaed.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna get fucking rolled for this. She's thinking that in her head.
You know,
She's like,
the whole Trapper Keeper is just a bunch of things to not end up getting indicted.
Oh, that's what I had for that. That's an ongoing thing. That's gonna be continuing
shit
on
show.
to the week. But we're gonna keep our eye on this here because this is we're across two different shows where we've been covering Pakistan.
It's important.
So
it's important.
Keep our eye.
Pakistan in particular is
important. No, it's important because it's a geopolitical like for years been like a strategic geopolitical base.
He's been one of the prime ministers who's always been pretty outspoken about U.S. meddling and stuff. So
yeah,
it's going to be in the news.
Of course, they got to get rid of it. It's pretty obvious, I think, to everyone.
We should all hope that he doesn't get Gaddafi, but
hopefully not. God bless him, but before we move on to our next segment here, don't forget to like and subscribe. You know, we're sitting here at 1298 subscribers. We're gonna get there at 1,300.
Guys, we have 2 subscribers. There's got to be at least 2
we
people
just need
in our
we
chat.
just need one of your buddies, one of your friends to come out, hit that subscribe button, and then you know what? You can unsubscribe maybe 6 months later. All right, just do it for 3 months. Just do it for. I just want to say that I just like to see bigger numbers. All right.
That's the whole like game. That's the whole podcasting game. We just wait for the bigger numbers. It's all about the bigger numbers.
That's the big.
The number's bigger today than it was yesterday. Oh my god, I did something right.
We're not getting paid. We're doing this simply out of the
fake internet points.
The fake internet points. So on to our next thing here. This is a little bit more of a fun one, but. Majority Report is back in the news again for making the most stupid fucking statement I've seen, and caught some good fire for this, and for good reason because they were horribly and disgustingly wrong, and in doing so, smearing not only a friend of ours but a member of the network, Tara Reade, who's. Hold on, I'll just play this here.
VLN, when Joe Biden was a senator in the early 90s, he raped Tara Reade. I know that is the accusation, indeed.
I think that, to be honest, guys, there's been some holes poked in that story.
Yes, I mean, Tara Reade has some serious credibility issues, it seems to me. But
I just want to notice how he had to toss it over to Emma because he can't
make her say the really heinous shit.
Yeah, he knows that he can't say it, so he has to toss it over to the woman in just
so gross.
I think that, to be honest, guys, there's been
because he sits there for a second. He's like
Reade.
Nudge,
I know that
nudge,
is the
nudge,
accusation, indeed.
He's like, Emma, save me on this one.
I think that, to be honest, guys, there's been some holes poked in that story.
It sounds like
Tara Reade has some serious.
It sounds like they were fed that line by somewhere
credibility
else.
Issues. It seems to me, but
this is part of their mini MSM
credibility
kind of
issues.
propaganda machine thing.
Do you think it'll become an issue again for the Democrats in 2024?
It should.
No.
It should, but
Trump
it won't.
Similar sort of cult.
I mean, she's running with Matt Gaetz and Green. I mean, hey, if you believe that there's holes in her story, if you believe that there's credibility issues, then release the Senate records from 1993 and line it up with the employment records. You could do that tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Get it from the Senate. Get the Senate to do it. We have plenty of corroborating evidence, and I'm gonna show some of it here.
These people are just so disgusting. So disgusting.
I know. I just want to remind everyone we have not only San Luis County court records from 1996 that shows now one of 7 different witnesses that she told at the time. But not only that, she had her mom call in on Larry King Live in 1993. about
didn't know
this
that.
exact
Wow.
issue. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. You didn't know this?
And Larry King still have the video on CNN? Amazing.
Yeah. Look. This is from 2020.
I'm surprised they didn't memory hold
Granted,
that shit.
CNN, but
That's crazy.
All right, turning to the 2020 campaign and why a video from 1993 is part of today's political discussion.
a little bit.
It's crazy that
That's in Washington.
There you go. This is why, like, YouTube is like has a monopoly on the video websites, is because every other website, like, they can't load their videos for
So
shit.
check this out. Who's your ISP?
ISP?
Comcast?
My internet?
Yeah.
T-Mobile.
Are you using a hotspot or something?
Yeah.
This fucking guy. You can actually
why?
get there, like, I don't know, that, like, do you have 5G? If it's 5G, it should be decent. But I was going to say,
yeah, it is 5G.
Like, we were talking about net neutrality
Turning to the
earlier,
2020
and one of the
campaign
ways
and
that
why a
net
video
neutrality
from
is impacted.
1993 is part of.
Yeah, no, continue.
I was going to say, like
this stream is sponsored by Comcast, by the way.
One of the ways that net neutrality can impact your content is Comcast could be like, no, I don't want you watching streaming content on YouTube. I want you watching it on Comcast Tube or on it, NBC, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they could deliberately slow it down. One of the things that actually Netflix tried to do way back in the day, this was like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Geez, it was before I was married to my first wife. They actually offered to put in basically infrastructure at the sites at underground with a lot of the ISPs to basically make it so that Netflix content wouldn't be slowed down through those ISPs, and it got turned down. Netflix offered to put in their own infrastructure to kind of go around that, to kind of get around net neutrality, and it got declined for obvious reasons. But like when I see something like that, I'm like, oh, they're fucking with us. They're definitely fucking with us. There's no reason why they can't just buffer that just fine. Anyway.
All right, so let's get your reaction to this Larry King video, like, since you haven't seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, hello. I'm wondering what a staffer would do besides go to the press in Washington. My daughter has just left there after working for a prominent senator and could not get through with her problems at all. What she done was go to the press, and she chose not to do it out of respect for him.
Or she had a story to tell, but out of respect for the person she worked for, she didn't tell it.
That's true.
Now, what Tara Reade told CNN on the phone is that this is, in fact...
Now, that's not the whole video.
Right, that's just a tiny clip, obviously.
More of the original footage. But that just it gets to the point. Let's continue with this.
Be really difficult to go to the press
with Sam.
I can imagine the pressure that you would get pushed back to not go to the press with something like that. It must have been so
a senator, a senator.
Like I can't imagine how difficult that must have been for Tara. I can't even imagine.
There's at least, like, not counting her mom, there's at least 6 to 7 people who can corroborate her story from 1993 today. So to say that there's whole is believably disingenuous. It's like gross. It's really gross.
Type
like
of reckoning playing itself out.
The majority of
Trump,
really
Trump
couldn't
wins
come
again.
out with a better story. They really couldn't find anything.
No, I mean,
better
this is
to
just
set
them.
up.
I mean, to be fair, this is just them to be like This is them like responding to like a caller and like a caller segment, like a segment.
Okay. And they just had a dog shit. They took.
But this is just like how this is their natural vomit response to anything that has any
consent
sort of criticism to
manufacturing.
their daddy president Biden, who they need to protect at every whim, and what that takes is forgetting about Me Too and forgetting about Believe All Women, and what it means is that we're going to be rape apologists for a sniffy old man who likes to creep on people.
That's like the worst thing.
And it's not like that's the worst thing. Like you have to I said this before. You have to convince me that Joe Biden isn't a creeper. Like you have to provide me evidence. It's like I'm already sold on it.
We've seen the Senate video of him just sniffing kids and
I've seen it. Yes, exactly. I've seen him sniffing kids. I've seen him. I see
Hunter.
You
think Hunter just became that evil, terrible human being?
Yeah. Where do you think he learned it? Where do you think he learned that from? Like father, like son.
That's kind of where I think the shoe didn't fall.
And then we don't even have to. We don't even have to talk about Ashley Biden's diary, which is confirmed true ever since a couple months ago. Actually, they just confirmed Ashley Biden's diary. So all that shit
after they confirmed that the laptop was actually real.
Do you know about the Ashley Biden's diary?
I know very little bit about it, but that's kind of my take on it.
So there's an excerpt. There's an excerpt in Ashley Biden's diary of her describing showers with her dad.
Joe Biden. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so
okay.
Yeah, so that is confirmed, genuinely her diary. So take away from that what you will. It seems to me like the guy is a fucking
gross
psycho sex pest weirdo.
Yeah.
So that you take. I mean, I don't know
what the question was.
No, I think it was, do you think Tara Reade will become an issue for the Democrats in 2024?
I said at the time, unfortunately, I think the
framing.
calculus is more than one accuser for one of these guys. I think even if Tara Reade, and I haven't followed that super closely, but unfortunately, I think the calculus is you need more than one accuser.
The calculus is that you need more than
one accuser. Okay, so
you need more than
this
one.
This is kind of coming into 7 women.
2019. It seems you have 7, and these fucking rape apologists, they really love to just
move the goalposts,
erase people from history. They don't Lucy Flores. They have Lucy Flores, who's highlight her story here.
I mean, and fucking what's her name? Clarence Thomas hearing. Oh, that was different, but same thing. She got kind of erased.
These actions weren't just hugs. I read next in the dictionary. Biden flashing his $1 million smile would be entered next to it, but in my case, Biden's very friendly hug was his hands on my shoulders, his body's close to mine. From smelling my hair and planting a slow kiss on my head when we had no personal relationship whatsoever, and just imagined before a stressful, high-profile public event. You can't be any more fucking creepy than this, dude. You can't. It's like I said. I have to convince me that Joe Biden is not a creeper, pedophile, fucking weirdo. Most of the presidents. I think it's on.
It's funny you say that because it's
the lesser of two rapists. We're talking about the Eid, we're spending time on the Eid Carol case, whatever the Trump's, which wasn't even that's a civil case. That's not even a sexual harassment case, by the way. So to even compare the two, Tara's the most credible witness that we had, the most credible accuser that we have. So to
believe all women until they accuse a Democrat, and then smear her for years and completely ruin her.
Oh yeah, and the New York Times they publicly release her social security number too. And then she tried suing, and then they sued her back they countersued for liability or something like that, for it was journalistic integrity for them to post their fucking social security number. This is the shit they do to you.
What?
This is the shit that they do to you. The New York Times did that. They countersued her. She's not loaded or anything. She has no check her Patreon.
No, I mean what the fuck, man? Yeah, Tara Reade,
that's
exactly,
and
Miguel.
that's right,
Tara
Miguel.
Reade
Like
exposes the
Tara,
Me Too movement to be
that's
completely
true.
a fraud.
Tara
100%.
Tara Reade single-handedly exposed all of these fucking frauds, all of these rape apologists, all of them who went after Brett Kavanaugh for months. All they did was playing a political fucking game. They didn't give a shit this entire time. They did not give it.
And remember who was the lady that was the Kavanaugh? Like, I don't think she was even credible. I'm not even trying to start shit. And like, I remember being a good little liberal at the time, and like believing what she had to say against Kavanaugh. But I think it's come to light that she was not the most credible person.
Yeah, no, that's why I find this so ironic, is because Tara is like one of the more credible presidential like accusers that like have
been completely
across,
consistent since day one.
Exactly, like Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, like Monica Lewinsky,
type,
exactly.
But we're not. But like, I guess they learned from 1996. They have to
just completely like ruin your life.
Yeah,
if you like like try just a little bit to get some justice against like the people in power. But that that's like kind of like Christine Blasey Ford. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know that much, but I remember believing her at the time. I feel like some stuff has come out with her recently that kind of drew into question some of her credibility, which made the whole Me Too movement even more of a shit show. But don't quote me on that. But and I think anyway, I think it was Jimmy Dore who said he's like, I thought the Me Too movement was kind of stupid on its face anyway, but they chose to target the person who who had something credible against somebody who was running for president, and that's why.
Oh no, it's like the my body my choice thing. They fucked themselves
until it's about
as soon as the vaccines. As soon as it became about vaccines and they couldn't say it anymore, they flipped on it. They say, "Oh, it doesn't. Oh, it's not like that. It's not like that's not that my body, not that body." I'm talking about like
they keep
they have to flip flop.
They keep having to. It's just so disgusting, so disgusting. Like, man, and like just freaking Majority Report. You don't have to take a call like that. You can just be like, "This is a stupid question." Let them fucking deal with it. Just like and refuse to engage with that stupid question. Like,
Steph doesn't read all the super chats and Jimmy Dore. I mean, they have to purposely censor themselves. I mean, I don't know. It was just like an unnecessary, to an unnecessary degree. They went. They felt like that was like a little bit of a reach. Like, in order to they could have just said like, "There's no comment on it."
Yeah,
whatever. That was really all I really had for tonight, anyway. Unless you want to do the.
Did you want to?
We could show the Israeli influencers real quick.
What was the thing that we? Was something really quick that, or did we already kind of talk about it? What was there? Wasn't there something else we said we just got learned about?
I'm sorry.
What was the thing you showed me earlier?
Yeah, let me show you. Let's say.
Wasn't an Alyssa Milano quote, "Believe all women unless they accuse a Democrat." #PoundMeToo.
So again, covered last Wednesday was Joe Biden's influencer army. To basically we saw these figures like Chris and Harry Maury were coming up to show for the Democratic Party and basically act as like these little influencers, mini fighters online in order to combat quote unquote misinformation.
Yeah, combat truth.
And so, it looks like Israel is taking close note, and they want to do something along the same lines. This is by Jessica Boxman. Israel's latest Hasbara scheme. We're enlisting high school students as trolls against Palestine.
Because the Palestinians don't have it hard enough.
Yes. Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because apartheid is so unpopular, they have to have.
It's crazy.
They have to have these mini influence. They'd rather, instead of giving Palestinians any sort of like inch of freedom,
legitimacy,
they have to. They'd rather hire a group of high school students. Yes, this is
100% for real.
They'd rather hire a group of high school students to troll online and combat if you're for BDS, if you support BDS, you're probably encountering one of these trolls online. And it looks like it's a program
crazy.
it's literally just to have U.S. pro leadership talking points.
But it's so crazy that even within the illegitimate state of Israel, they have to create their own digital propaganda machine against Palestine. So that begs the question, even within Israel, are people who are, I guess, millennials are a little bit more awake than the Zoomers. If they're targeting high school kids, it means that they reached out to the older kids and they were like, I don't want anything to do with your bullshit. Right? I mean, I think that's kind of the implication, or they're trying to indoctrinate.
I think I would assume like if you're like more like college age level, like you would like have some understanding of like that.
Because Israel also has mandatory conscription. So I would think, like, why wouldn't they just make their freaking soldiers put out dog shit propaganda? I don't know. But it says a lot to me that the illegitimate state of Israel can't even handle the myth that like Palestine doesn't have a right to exist among their own people. Like, it's that bad. Like, something really bad is going to happen. And I mean, bad stuff happens in Israel every fucking day, or Palestine every fucking day. But it sounds to me like something really, 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 really bad is going to happen in that region in our lifetimes. Like,
oh yeah.
I don't
want to jinx anything, but
I don't want. Yeah, but I mean, like, the Palestinians have to have a revolution eventually. Like, something. This just speaks to the ongoing being completely unable to fake, like, the illusion that fascism is good and that people should want it. Like, Israelis just aren't buying it anymore. That's crazy to me. That's a huge indictment.
Yeah, and I was gonna get a translator for this, but I don't have a Chrome extension installed. But either way, that's the story there.
But yeah, so at the
that's the new the psyops have evolved into.
So I actually saw this just the other day. I'll just because we're on the topic of social media psyops. So those like nature is rad kind of like Twitter profiles that you see, or like nature is cool, and it'll be like some deer like walking across the street, or like.
Show me examples.
So, or Nate, like I'm starting to notice somebody posted this thing the other day about how a lot of these accounts that have the appearance of looking all nice and like pretty and like meant to kind of grasp you in like a friendly way on Twitter are, if they have like one follower, it's usually Elon Musk, which means that Elon Musk literally hires trolls to like kind of like offset the negativity that's so prevalent on the platform. And so I saw one today that was one of those like happy, like, oh, nature is rad, nature is cool, like just like friendly, like kind of happy things. And like one of the only followers, it was like the only people who was following was like the state of India, like Narendra Modi, MJP, all that stuff. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So like there's a lot of these really weird astroturfing going on with some accounts that you wouldn't think anything of it. So like if you're on Twitter a lot and you see these accounts that are like nature and just seem like completely harmless, look at their follower account and you might be really fucking surprised. Because
you could tell a lot from an account just by seeing it who follows.
Just looking at who their followers are, yeah, or who they follow, or like. So I thought that was interesting, but digital the way the guys are with the propaganda. I thought there were supposed to be laws in place where maybe it happened after the Patriot Act that got rid of it, but I always thought that when the government was like feeding you bullshit and was like feeding you propaganda, like you kind of had a right to know that the government was like the one that was.
Oh no, Obama repealed that.
So that's why we I've on Twitter.
Obama got rid of that.
So that's why we have these DNC ops like now.
You didn't know that?
Well, I just kind of assumed that was
Obama repealed. Obama repealed a law that basically made it so that like you couldn't propagandize your own citizens.
Well, I know he ramped it up that during wartime they could like dial it up to 11, but I didn't know that he like basically made it where like we have no right to know when, because what made me think about it.
Yeah, I can tell you the name of the law later.
Like, remember
that
e-girl Luhan who was like the military and she was in the like she was in psyops, and she was always like doing the videos where she was like dancing around, or like what if I gave you like the best glow job you've ever had, and it was like that.
Oh yeah.
Like so that was like made me think about that, like just because like I thought the government had a responsibility to tell us when they were bullshitting us, at least tell us, hey, this is like a paid promotion.
Not anymore.
Like
not anymore. We're in 2023.
It's fucking disgusting.
Propaganda is legal now, guys. What are you doing?
Just shameless. We have to be.
That's why I'm saying we need to make our own propaganda. We should make.
That's what agitprop
good
is.
Propaganda.
That's what agitprop is.
Yes.
So
yes.
more of that. I'm like
that's what we're here for.
I'm like a couple weeks away from getting another one of those pre-cuts, so I can start making t-shirts again. Because like I like wearing those t-shirts, like the agitprop t-shirts, and then doing DoorDash, and people are like reading these kind of t-shirts, and they're like, wait a second,
I want to make more too,
dude.
Speaking of which, we have a merch store. We have we have a Patreon and a Substack. We have everything that you could possibly do to support and achieve exclusive benefits on the side as well. So, I mean, that was pretty much everything for tonight, anyway.
Yeah, but that was good amount of coverage. Look, we're under 3 hours, so that's good.
We're under 3 hours. That's good.
With 3 topics, so I'm glad we didn't do too much more than that.
We did. Yeah, and a mini one on the side. So,
but yeah,
I hope you guys have
you all.
Have a good night. I appreciate everyone coming out tonight.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Really appreciate it.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, support the channel any way you can. Follow us on Twitter. I'm Greg Big Man Crab, and
Chris at 420.
Chris at 420, and one of our co-hosts. And follow the network. We have other shows coming up to you this week. You have I Know News on Wednesday. I think Tara on Friday, but I think Misty, actually, Comrade Misty, is going to be coming out with her new show, Bitch, which she's re-releasing on here. I showed you the intro to that.
Yeah.
But like she's going to be starting that on Saturday, so stay tuned for that.
Exciting.
If you're a fan of Misty. Yeah, that's going to be an exciting show. So,
cool guys.
Yeah, thanks everyone for following the network.
Appreciate
Kudos.
you all.
Have a good night.
Great